So she would keep the fire going so that they wouldn't have to have so much difficulty in getting it started again. So that was her kind of job. And he had this long spear thing that he would use. And that's how he would hunt for animals. Had a little pointy, arrow on the front of it, on that spear thing, and he made it himself. And she said that even though there was no Kiswas, thank you again for the lightning bolts. She said even though there was no one else, it was just her baby, and her husband. She just knew that he protected her and that he cared about her and that he loved her. And they were super happy. Life was all about survival, and they literally did live in a cave. They were cave people, and that's where they lived. But she was super, super happy. Described that you don't have a very long life then span, but her husband ended up the day before her, and she was like so scared, like, oh my gosh, my protector's leaving me, my love is leaving me. And she was really, really sad, and she was crying in the session, because when you see these past lives under hypnosis, you're feeling it. It's like you're there again. And so she was crying about it and just really sad about it. And so, why this camera is not working. This is so sad. Crying about it and just really sad. And it was just her and her son. So then they had to start fishing and hunting and stuff on their own, and they did it. And then it came to the day where she died just a few years later, and her son was probably like, she said she was going to guess maybe like a young teenager, all alone. They didn't live in a village or anything like that. They were on their own. And she was so scared and nervous about leaving her son alone because there was nobody else with him. And so after she died, she said she stayed around for the rest of his lifetime to just kind of watch over him. And she knew that after she died, she actually saw her husband hanging around in spirit form too. He hadn't left them. And so she didn't feel that when she was alive, but she saw it. So here are the two of them in spirit form, or I guess you'd say ghost form, hanging around, watching over their son. And he became aware enough that he could feel their presence, and he was talking to them all the time. And so it wasn't like he was really alone. He was chatting with them all the time and talking to them like they were with him. And so kind of the message in her session was, you don't even have to have any of this teaching, current spiritual teaching or anything like that, to know that there's more out there than just the human side of things, because he felt it. He got quiet enough, obviously, quiet on his own, and he listened to his soul, and he was able to hear the voice of his soul and hear and feel and around him. So I thought that was a really, really cool, what a great experience. So I don't want to be here anymore. I totally get it. I don't want to be here anymore either. I mean, I really don't. But we'll get into the topic right now. Like I said, I have some notes that I'm going to kind of look at, because I spent a lot of the time preparing for this. So I hope you guys enjoy it. But I told you there are days I truly feel like I don't want to be here anymore. And these are not days that are in the long past. I have days like that now too, where I can feel pretty down. So just because you're on a spiritual journey does not mean that life is a piece of cake or it's a breeze and it gets better. We resist. We don't like, the way our life is going, the way our life is turning out, the circumstances and situations in our life, whether we created them consciously or unconsciously ourselves, we just don't like them, and they don't feel good, and it's not what we want. And so we just don't want to be here because it's just yucky. It's hard and it's yucky. Some days I want to go home. It's hard for us on spiritual journeys. 100%. Yeah. Just because you're on a spiritual journey does not mean that it gets easy. I mean, you can look at things from a different perspective and understand things a little differently, but it doesn't mean that everything's a piece of cake, for sure. So, like I said, again, I don't want to dishonor or not respect people. Someone on TikTok made this comment. I said, I absolutely acknowledge and have compassion for people who have lived through real trauma. I mean, I have lived through real trauma. If you guys know my story, my first husband killed my daughter. She was 5 months old. I mean, I had an abusive stepmother, a father who I felt totally rejected by for most. I healed from that, thank God, right? And I had a mother who just was doing her best, but she just wasn't the best mother a lot. So I've had a lot of trauma in my life, a lot of trauma. So I understand trauma. So this is in no way minimizing anyone's trauma. You're all seen. We're all seen. This is not about bypassing trauma. This is just about looking at what do I see in the sessions where I communicate with people's higher selves. And again, I'm communicating with higher selves of clients over the years and from all different countries where I do sessions. Okay. Sunday Rosberg. Oh my goodness. I had no idea. Yeah. My daughter would be 28 years old this June. She would be 28, but I got to have her for 5 months. And you know that you've received a lot of healing when I could say that and I don't break down in tears and break out and become a blubbering mess. I still talk to her. I still miss her. I still love her, of course. Okay, but let's talk about, is Earth a trap or just tilted? Okay, that's kind of the language I got. And we're going to talk soul level truth. Okay. So originally, Earth was created as a realm of polarity and free will. So polarity means there's opposites, there's good, there's bad. Natalie, thank you so much for the gift. Polarity is there's good, there's bad, there's right, there's wrong, there's black, there's white. There's you learn that something tastes good, tasting something that's like rotten, gross, disgusting food. And I mean, it's just opposites. So when I say polarity, that's what I mean. So Earth was created to be a realm of polarity. That's kind of when Earth was originally created. It was like that. It's kind of like an accelerated school where we can learn deep soul lessons by challenge and by contrast, or that polarity creates contrast. Okay. And I hear that word contrast a lot in my sessions, that Earth is about contrast. That's how we learn, is by experiencing opposites. Okay. That's a huge learning tool. So souls chose on one level or another, and I'll go into that a little bit later about choosing. Do we really choose? Okay. But we come here for rapid growth. So knowing full well that this incarnation includes amnesia, it includes difficulty and emotional intensity. I will tell you guys that on other planets, I've had people look at hypnosis, under hypnosis, at being on other planets. And most other planets, you do not have the emotions that you do here on Earth. Okay. And they might have a few emotions like love and peace and neutrality. Like I've seen many planets that have that. Some planets, they have no emotions. They're literally just kind of just go through life, just doing things totally emotionless. So Earth is really unique in the way that it has emotions. And that's why we can feel so deeply when things don't go the way we want them to, and our life isn't how we expected it to be. Because life isn't how we expect it to be, then we just really don't like it. We just really, really, really don't like it at all. So, and like I said, because we have these emotions. Okay. And so on YouTube, can you guys, I don't know, there's 3 people on there, and I'm going to send you a chat. Ask if you can hear me and maybe just not see me. I don't know if you guys on YouTube can respond to my chat and let me know, can you hear me? Even though it looks like my camera's not working, I don't know if you can hear me or not on YouTube. Okay. So on these other planets, they don't have these emotions. Earth is actually one of the few planets out there that does have this range of emotions. Okay, great. So YouTube, they can hear me, but they can't see me. Okay, great. So on earth, you can get these emotions, which our soul loves because it helps the contrast, right? It helps us feel the good, like with intensity, and it helps us feel the bad and the struggle and the difficulty with equal intensity. And so, but that's how we learn again is through contrast, if that makes sense. So thank you for the rose, Linny Lou too. Thank you so much. Okay, so let me go on. But something shifted. Okay, so that's how Earth was designed, but then something shifted. Many believe this realm, this earthly realm, was hijacked. Okay, I've heard that Earth was hijacked, like energy hungry entities, distorted systems, trauma loops, and mind control hijacked the original design of Earth. So now we find ourselves in like this tilted game board where some players cheat, other players forget the rules purposely or accidentally, and many people feel trapped in this repeating loop. Okay, so is Earth a trap? All right. You can choose to believe whatever you want. But I would just say this. I mean, you can do whatever you want, right? I would say this. Make sure the belief that you have is a really informed belief. Like, I have my beliefs, and do I question them sometimes? Yeah, I do. I do. But then I have another hypnosis session, and then I hear the same stuff again. And so then I'm like, bounced right back, going, well, I don't know. Even though I get off track and listen to what other people say, oh, Earth is a prison, we're trapped here, it's just an energy farm. And then I have this session that says something that's just miraculous and beautiful and full of love and makes so much sense. And then I go, well, I don't know about that. I don't know that it really is. I mean, in a way, it can be, it can feel like that for sure. But when you're going to make a judgment call or have a belief like that, I would recommend two things. You can do what you want, but I would recommend two things. One, I would recommend keeping an open mind and saying, this is what I currently believe, but I'm open to hearing other viewpoints. Because if you're not, then you're just closed minded, right? And you're just like, nope, I don't believe anything else. And you're not open to hearing any other viewpoints, even if they had some truth in them, or even if they might resonate with your soul and hit a spot and your intuition goes, ooh, I feel that. Yeah, that might be right. If you are just stuck in your belief, you're not going to even be open to anything like that or changing your perspective. And that's, I don't know. That just makes life more difficult. Honestly, it just does. So a lot of the work I do when I do my higher self hypnosis sessions is asking people's higher selves, what beliefs do they currently hold that are not serving them, that are not helping them, that are not in their best and highest, not for their best and highest good to believe. Okay. So that is a lot of the work that we do. So holding beliefs that don't serve you, they just don't serve you. So why do you want to be holding them? Okay, so keep an open mind and just be open to hearing other things and then asking your soul what the truth is. So just because, let's just say this viewpoint, you've heard this and you adopt it. Don't go to the light after you die. It's a reincarnation trap and you're going to just be recycled if you go to the light. Okay, let's just say you've heard that, and I hear that all the time. Okay, not in my sessions, I don't. Okay, but I hear it from other people. So let's say you hear that and you adopt it. And now that can become your reality. Okay, because you're a creator. Okay, number one, it can become your reality. And that can be something you get to experience because you've chosen that experience. So you might, after this life, just be like, no, 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 I'm not going to the light, which I see happening with souls. Let me just tell you, I see that happening with souls who say, I'm not going to the light. They're too afraid. They're too ashamed, whatever it might be. And they don't go to the light. They don't go to that bright white light. And you may create the very situation that you fear, right? So what you think about, you bring about, right? What you resist persists. You've all heard that, right? So we're not going to, yeah, I'm so sorry. We're not going to talk about schizophrenia tonight. I'm talking about the topic of whether Earth is a trap. So catch me another time or send me a message and ask me to talk about multiple souls in a body, because that's an interesting topic that I've studied and I'd be happy to address that. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, souls that don't want to go to the light, I have seen that a number of times in my sessions. And guess what? They become what's called wayward souls. And they just kind of wander around Earth, and we would call them a ghost or a wayward. Okay. And they are wandering for sometimes really, really, really long periods of time. They don't feel time, right? But they are wandering for long periods of time. And they just want to get to the light after a while because they get tired. So what happens is they will see you, a light being, shining your light. I mean, you don't see it with your physical eyes, but you have a light energy signature and you're shining your light. And these waywards go, oh, look, a light. And they're attracted to you and they get caught in your like aura because you've got this bright light. So let me give you an example of this. I was doing a higher self hypnosis session. This was years ago with a guy. And when I asked, do I have permission to speak to his higher self? The answer given to him, channeling, was no. And I said, no? Who said no? And the response I got was me. And I'm like, well, who's me? And this spirit, which I didn't know I was talking to a wayward, but I found out I was, this spirit said, whatever her name was, I don't even remember now. And I said, well, wait a minute. I thought I was talking to, let's call him Steve. Okay. I said, I thought I was talking to Steve. And I said, why are you there? And why are you answering? And she said, I don't know. I was wandering around for a really long time and I just wanted to go to the light. And I saw this light and he was so bright. And I just got like sucked into his aura and I've been stuck here and I don't know how to get out. So I asked her if she would like me to have some angels come down and send her to the light. And she said, yes, please. So I called some angels into the scene, asked them to take her to the light. And then I checked in again with my client, Steve, and said, is she still there? And he said, no, she's gone. I didn't even know there was anyone else here. So he had been walking around for a while with this wayward attached to him in his energetic space, in his aura, unbeknownst to him. Some people attract waywards or even dark entities, right? Those are the bad that cause the havoc. And I have another woman who was a friend of mine, and all of a sudden she started drinking at night before she was going to bed. And then she kept craving alcohol. And she was like, what in the world is going on? So we took a look at her aura and she had a wayward attached to her because she had a lot of holes in her aura. She was in an abusive relationship with a narcissist. So she had a lot of holes in her aura. And then it's easier for waywards and dark entities to come and attach themselves to you. And so she had this wayward who in their life on Earth, they had an alcohol addiction. And so when it attached to her, it was asserting that influence on her of that desire for alcohol. And so that's why she was craving alcohol. So I don't know. And I don't know all the answers, you guys, but I'm just telling you, these souls didn't go to the light afterwards. They became waywards who wandered around, then got stuck in someone else's energy. And then, these two, at least, we ended up sending them up to Creator's light with angelic help. So I don't know. Like I said, we're here. We hear these things. Don't go to the light. But is it 100% true? I don't know. Like from what I've learned in my hypnosis sessions, that is not true. It's not true that we just get put in a reincarnation loop if we go to the light. But you guys are, again, free to believe whatever you want. Okay. But yes. Yeah. Do return to sender, nighttime energy said. But, okay, total side note, this is not really part of the topic, but what do you do to protect your aura and make it a little more bulletproof? Let's call it. You can do aura energy meditations. I highly recommend this book. And then I don't know if they're still teaching the class or not. I took it years ago when I was early in my spiritual journey, but it's called Change Your Aura, Change Your Life. And that's a book. You can find it on Amazon. Change Your Aura, Change Your Life. And I used to do that all the time. You can pull in different colors into your aura. You can, shield your aura. A lot happens in your aura. If your aura is clean, that's where sickness and disease oftentimes first start is in your aura. So you want to keep your aura clean. You want to keep out dark spots. You want to keep out entities and energies and waywards. So I would check out that book, Change Your Aura, Change Your Life. I have heard of pranic healing, but I didn't really study it. So I don't know a lot about pranic healing. So I can't really talk about it, Izzy. Okay, let's get back to the topic of, is Earth a trap? Okay, so again, we talked about how Earth was created to be a realm of polarity, an accelerated school. Think of like a summer class. And we know when we're in the spirit realm, I'm telling you, because I see so many people in the life in between life stage, when they're not in a physical body, what they're doing, they know that Earth has challenges. They know that a lot of traumatic things happen down here. They know that we learn through duality or contrast. That's the big way we learn lessons on Earth. Okay. They know these things. We know there are dark entities on this planet. We know the game. It's a game. Okay. This is not real. It's a game. Just FYI. It feels real. That's how it's supposed to feel. You're supposed to really feel you're in the game. Okay. So, but your real the you self is not here. Okay. It's not exactly like an avatar, but that's the closest thing I guess we could say. It's kind of relative to that from what I have heard in many sessions. Okay. But it's a game. And we know the rules of the game, just like you know the rules of Monopoly before you start playing it. Okay. So we know the rules of the game, and we're still okay coming here, knowing this. Our human self doesn't exist up there. So Susan down here, Tracy down here, doesn't have a say on if she's okay with the rules of the game on Earth because she doesn't exist. She doesn't exist until our soul sends a fractal of itself into a physical body, and that physical body is Tracy. But she didn't exist up there. She's just a character. It's like going on a play. You're an actor in a play. Thank you, Raina, for the gift. It's like you're an actor in a play and you put on the costume and now you're, Mary Poppins in the play and you take on that role, but you're not really Mary Poppins. Thank you, Raina, again. Cute gift. So that's kind of how it is. All right. So our soul is the one who makes the decision on what role it wants to play. Oh, I want to be Mary Poppins today. Oh, in the next life, I want to be the child in the Mary Poppins thing. Or, in the next life, I want to be a coal miner's daughter. In the next life, I want to be the coal miner. I want to experience what that kind of life is like. Oh, in the next life, I want to put on the costume of a king and I want to be a king. Oh, in the next life, I'd love to experience, because I had so much wealth and I wasn't very nice to people who were poor and I wasn't compassionate. So I want my soul to be a little more well-rounded. So I actually want to go put on the costume of being a really poor child growing up in a third world country and experience abject poverty, just so I be more well-rounded. Because again, Earth, you learn through contrast, right? You can be a king in one life, or one costume you play, one role in the play is the king, and another role you play is the child in abject poverty. And you get to see the whole thing. It's so full rather than just studying it, right? It's just like if you study, what was I going to say? If you study how to be an airline pilot, right? In this lifetime, you can be like, oh, I know everything. I'm an airline pilot. Well, have you ever been in the cockpit and flown a plane? No, but I've studied it, so I know it. Oh, no, you don't, right? You don't. That's ridiculous. So we can study Earth. We can study these concepts all we want of how to be so well-rounded and know what it's like to feel the power of being a king and the wealth and the everything that comes with it. And then to feel what it's like to be that child growing up in that third world country in abject poverty. You can read about it, but you can't know it, right? You can't know it on a soul level. Let me look at some of these back messages. Hold on, guys. Soul Matter, I love your explanation and I watch so many videos. Thank you. What if human, chose to unalive myself? Go to my TikTok videos and look at the video that I have out there about suicide. It's pinned to the top because we're not going to talk about suicide today. We're talking about Earth being a trap. Okay. So go to that and watch that video. Okay. Let me see if anyone else said anything. How do we escape Earth and from reincarnation again? Oh, let me answer that one right now, okay? Because that's actually kind of an easy one to answer because I've asked this numerous times in people's higher self hypnosis sessions, and I always get the same answer, which is cool because then it's like these people don't know each other. They live on different parts of the world. They're years apart, and I'm still getting the same answer. Oh, thank you for the crown. So the answer to that I always get, you guys, consistently, is the way you get out of this reincarnation cycle is that you no longer need duality or contrast to be your teacher. And you have learned all the lessons here that your soul has laid out in a plan. It's like a scroll, okay? It's like a scroll. Okay, soul wants to learn these 195 different things on Earth, let's just say. Not learn, master. I should say, you want to master it. Okay. So you want to master forgiveness. You want to master self-love. You want to master self-worth. You want to master trusting in God. You want to master how to transmute trapped emotions in your body and transmute them and change them into higher frequency emotions. So you're not walking around carrying these trapped emotions like anger and frustration and bitterness and resentment and betrayal and things like that. Okay. So whatever lessons your soul has laid out for you, that's what it wants to experience. Now, it may say, oh, I'll experience of those 190 lessons, the things I want to experience as a soul in various costumes, on various stages. I'm going to learn, let's say, 80 of them on Earth. And then the other, whatever that is, what? It's saying that some of my comments are restricted. I'm not sure why. TikTok just sent me a notification that some people may not like my comments. I don't know, or some people's comments. I'm not sure. Hopefully we don't get kicked off. If we, guys, I'm also live on YouTube. For some reason, my camera is not working there, but the audio is working there, and you can go there and finish hearing me because I'll just continue on YouTube if TikTok cuts me off. I got cut off on TikTok one time because I was talking about the MOON and how it's not REAL. And so they shut my TikTok down. So again, if we get shut down, you can find me on YouTube on Woke Lightworker under that name. Okay. Let me go back to my notes. Okay. So you might decide that you want to learn the other, 100 lessons, 110 lessons on various other planets and only 80 on Earth. And your soul's like, okay, I'll learn them on this planet, this planet, this planet, this planet, this planet, and Earth. I'm going to do a majority of them because the lessons are really quick. It's like going to summer school. And I get to learn through contrast or duality. And so it chooses to go to Earth for the chunk of them. Let's just say that's how your soul decides to do it. Some souls don't. Some souls just incarnate on other planets. They don't come to Earth. Okay, obviously you're here and your soul chose for you to learn at summer school and on Earth. Okay, so when you no longer need duality or contrast to be your teacher, you graduate from Earth. When you've learned all the lessons your soul put out for you to learn on Earth and you don't need duality to be your teacher. So then maybe you incarnate on Arcturus, okay, where you don't have duality, you don't have contrast like that. It's a really peaceful, cooperative. They're a much higher vibration planet. There's a lot of them out there. It's a much higher vibration planet, and you're going to have more experiences there than you are lessons. You'll have some lessons, but they're not intense like they are on Earth. It can take you a lot longer. The lifetimes are a lot longer. It might be hundreds and hundreds of years a life there, because it just takes you so much longer to learn just maybe a couple things. And it's more experiences, like, oh, I'm going to go there and just experience what it's like to work as a collective, because they do a lot of things as a collective versus individual, right? You're not building your individual business there. You're working as a collective with others who have the same mentality mindset that you do, and you're all working together on stuff. So maybe that's what you want to experience, being more of a cooperative instead of individual things. So again, long story to that question, how do we escape Earth and escape from reincarnation? You just get through whatever your soul decided. And your soul is the one who decides it. Again, it's not the costume that you're wearing down here, because when you leave Earth, you leave this costume behind. So you're not taking those same beliefs of Earth sucks, I never want to go back again. You're not taking that with you to the spirit realm. You're just not. Like, I do so many hypnosis sessions of the space in between lives when you die in a life, and then you are in the spirit realm doing your life review, you're planning your next life, whatever you might be doing. Like, I hear those sessions and the conversations that go on up there and how they feel. And I ask them, so are you still thinking about that life that you left on Earth? And the answer is no, not thinking about it. I'm looking forward to what I'm going to do next. I mean, once in a while they'll carry it, but you know what happens? Those souls go to a healing place. They'll go to a place that's like a beautiful meadow or a river, and they'll put their feet in the water and they'll just sit there and watch nature. They'll just do all kinds of different healing things. Some souls go into what looks like a healing pod, and it's just complete silence, almost like if you're going into one of those sensory deprivation tanks like that. And they just get to unplug and just totally drop that life they just left, because maybe it was really traumatic. Okay. So whatever your healing experience looks like up there, it's always very different. I can't say what yours will look like exactly. But once you get out of that, or if you don't need that intense of healing, you're literally up there. And I'll even ask later, as we go along, I'll be like, okay, what about now? Are you thinking about that life you just left? And the answer is, are you kidding me? No. I'm like totally chilling up here with my spirit team. I'm seeing my son who died before me. I'm catching up with all these other relatives and soul families who I've known for many lives. I'm hanging out with Jesus. I'm learning lessons, or I'm in the Akashic library and I'm looking at my book of lives. And it's so cool to go back and review this or look ahead and think what I would do differently next time and kind of plan different things. I'm studying for the next life. I'm looking at other people's book of lives because they've experienced things that I want to experience. So I'm kind of studying their life to see how they did things, kind of wondering, should I do it like they did? Do I want to modify some things? So you are so not thinking about this life. Like when you leave here, it's going to be very brief if you're thinking about this life at all once you leave. So it just is so heavy and so intense when we're here, because we're in the feeling and in the emotion of it. Okay. And this is another thing I hear all the time in my sessions. We take life way too seriously, and we don't do enough to find joy. We're not looking for joy. We don't dedicate the time. We get stuck in the drama and the trauma and the emotions, and we're skipping away from the joy. We're not feeling the joy like we need to, because Earth can be beautiful and it can be wonderful and this experience can be wonderful, but we're just not taking advantage of that. We're getting stuck in the emotions. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Okay. Let me see. The realization that the free will of the soul supersedes the so-called free will of our 3D self, right? Because your 3D self, remember guys, Your 3D self, the you that's sitting here listening to this, is just a role. You are playing. You went onto a stage. You put on a costume. You want to pretend you're Mary Poppins in this life, okay? Or you want to pretend that you're a drummer in a rock band, right? You're not a drummer in a rock band in all your lives. You're definitely not a drummer in a rock band in the spirit realm, okay? You're just not, right? It's just a costume you're wearing. So why should a costume be able to determine your entire soul path? That makes zero sense. Would you give, if you were the soul, just play along with me here. If you were a soul and you said, oh, should I give a whole bunch of control and authority to this costume, this make-believe role player to determine the trajectory of my entire soul path? Heck no, you would never do that. You would never, never, never do that. It doesn't even make sense. We've got to stop thinking of this whole thing from such a human perspective, right? There's a higher perspective. That's what the higher self can give you, is that higher perspective. And that's what I hear every single day when I do these sessions. I get to hear these higher perspectives. And when you learn how to connect to and hear from your higher self, you can start getting little tidbits every now and then of that higher perspective. But if you don't have that higher perspective, you're just sitting and thinking and living in that lower perspective. That poor me, why did this happen to me? I'm a victim. This is against my will. I'm just trapped. I'm a victim. You're not looking at it. And I'm not saying that, again, that we disregard the fact that you're going through trauma and the fact that you're going through hard times. I told you guys at the very beginning of this, you want to talk about going through trauma? I don't want to compare stories, but we can talk about who's going through trauma and who's going through trauma. That's why I do this work, okay? To help other people and to show other people. And it doesn't mean that my life is easy. It's not. I feel oftentimes like, just take me out freaking right now. I don't want to be here anymore. Like, I don't like the way my life is going for this thing or that thing, and I don't want to be here anymore. So I'm not saying that it doesn't still happen. Just because you're on a healing journey and just because you work really hard on healing yourself and just because you read a crap ton of spiritual books and learn all these concepts and take all these classes, it doesn't mean that earth isn't still hard, because we have emotions. It is still hard because we have these emotions. I have a book coming out, you guys. You guys get on my mailing list. Go to my website, wokelightworker.com, and click on the Contact Us page and get on my mailing list, because I have 2 really amazing books coming out. Actually 3, hopefully sooner rather than later. My first one is called Who Says Childbirth Has to Be Painful? And it's how to have a pain-free labor and delivery. Yes, on earth, because I did it. And I'm going to share with you guys. That's number 1. Number 2, I have a book about emotions that is unlike any other book that you will ever read about emotions, guaranteed. Okay. And it's all through hypnosis, this information that I've gotten. And the third one is how to connect to your higher self. And the fourth one is how our past lives impact us now, here in this life, how they're so prevalent, the same lessons, because we didn't finish learning them in other lives. Okay. So get on my mailing list if you're not now. Get on my mailing list so you guys can be notified when these books come out. Okay. So let's go to see if there's any questions. I thought when I started to elevate, it would get easier. I just don't sit in it as long. Yes, Tracy, thank you. Exactly. Like, we can learn how to get out of it a little bit faster. The more we progress, the longer we go on, we can learn how to get out of it a little bit quicker. Let me see what anyone else is saying here. Yes, that's my phrase. I don't want to be here anymore. Exactly. I get it. It's the costume you that doesn't want to be here anymore. It's not the soul. Okay. If the soul didn't want to be here anymore, if the soul did not want you here anymore, you wouldn't be here. Okay. The soul would say, oh, we're taking this death door. If you don't know what a death door is, you can watch my video. It's pinned at the top on my TikTok. And it talks about, what is the title? The title is, why there's no such thing as an untimely death. Okay. And it's pinned at the top of my videos on TikTok. Again, my TikTok name, Woke Light Worker. Okay. But if your soul did not want you here, did not have more for you to accomplish, you would not be here. You wouldn't. It would take you out. So the fact that you're here, it means you're not done with what your soul wants you to accomplish, right? Thank you for the hand hearts. Oh my gosh, thank you. Okay, so let me get back into this. And it again, you guys, it's seeing these things through the perspective of spirit and not the perspective of human. These are comments when you are identified with the human you. You're not identifying with your soul. When you ask these questions, you're not identifying as your soul, as your higher self. The higher self is the voice for your soul, okay? You're identifying as the costume, as the role. You know, we do role playing. You're identifying as that role, and that is not you. You're pretending it's you, just like you can pretend you're Mary Poppins in a play, but it's not you. So those questions, when you ask these questions, when I ask these questions, it's because I'm identified with my human self, my lower self versus my higher self. Okay. That's really, really what this comes down to. Seriously. My soul's pretty mean. Oh, that's the human you saying that, honey. That's your human you saying that your soul is mean. Your soul's laughing at you when you say that, actually. FYI. Your soul's like, yep, okay. You just keep believing that. Let's see how life goes for you. Oh, wow. Nice mustache. Thank you. Let's just keep believing that. And you just see how life turns out for you while you create that belief. Okay. So your soul will give you anything you want. It's like, okay, you want to create that belief? Go for it. We'll see if you like it. So how do I identify with my soul? You start talking to it. You ask your higher self, show me, teach me. It'll teach you. It'll lead you to this book, to a book. It'll lead you to listen to this YouTube teaching. It'll lead you to listen to those little nudges that you have, those little prompts. People that set up a call. I offer 15-minute free consultation calls to talk about the process of higher self hypnosis. Make sure it's a good fit. Those people's higher selves brought my video in front of them and said, put a little like prompting in their spirit to do a session like that, because, hey, like I've got things I want to tell you, and you might not be hearing it all, or you might not be really listening that much, but you listened, you're hearing that like calling in you for whatever it is, whether it's a session or, hey, this meditation pops up on your YouTube, whatever it is. And it's up to you. Your conscious mind is the gatekeeper. Your conscious mind, the Mary Poppins in this play, gets to say, yes, I'll go ahead and do that and listen to that prompting, or no, I got this. I got this. I can handle this. I'm not listening. And you can shove it down, and you can just ignore it. It's totally up to you. It's your choice. That's where your free will, your costume, your avatar has free will, with the conscious mind to say yes to anything it wants and to say no to anything it wants. Okay. It's just like being in an abusive relationship. You have the option to say, yes, I'm going to stay in that. Yes, more, please. Right. Or no, you cannot treat me like that. I'm not staying in this relationship any longer. And you choose to leave. The conscious mind makes the decision. It says yes or no. So you can choose to follow the promptings of your soul, or you can ignore them. The more you follow them, the more you listen to them, the louder they'll become. The more you'll recognize them, these promptings. You'll be like, oh, I feel. So it's like, let me give you an example, guys. When I first heard, I was taking different spiritual classes and courses, and it was fun, and I was learning, in the beginning. And then I heard a woman tell me that she did this higher self hypnosis. And I'm telling you, all the alarm bells in my soul, I had never felt this before, but all these alarm bells, like, I mean, that's the best way I can describe it, started just blaring inside of me. And I knew that this was for me, and that I was supposed to do this, that this was part of what was going to fulfill me. Okay. And so that was, And I acted on it immediately. I literally was talking to this woman, found out she did it. I went home, signed up for the class the same day. Okay. Classes. Okay. Dolores Cannon's method. Okay. That's how I started. I've added a lot more to it, but that's how I started. Okay. So I listened to it. Then, not long after that, like weeks or months after that, I heard the word theta healing, Theta, theta healing. When I heard that, literally those same alarm bells were like blaring, ding, 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 ding. I heard, that's for you. Go sign up. I had no idea what theta healing was, but I knew, because I learned how to listen to my soul, that was something I was supposed to do. It was part of my path. So I literally went online to find a teacher to sign up for a class, not knowing what it was about. I researched it after I signed up, and then I did the classes and completely changed my life. It is the biggest hammer in my spiritual toolbox. I could not even imagine doing life or the work I do without having theta healing. And so now I teach theta healing because my team told me, let me see, it says it's going to end. What? Why is it saying inactivity? Oh my gosh. Guys, it's saying that my live is going to end in 4 minutes and 48 seconds because I'm inactive and I need to complete a verification to continue going live, but it's not giving me a verification. So if we get cut off, I will just go back live again. I'm so sorry. This is on TikTok. It's not on YouTube that this is happening, but it's not even allowing me to verify that I'm live. Like, this is crazy. Someone's not liking what I'm saying about my message. I don't know why. It's empowering, so maybe they don't like that. But yeah, guys, it looks like we're going to be cut off. Can you guys still hear me? I don't even know if you can still hear me or not. I just don't even know. So if we get cut off on TikTok, I'm going to go back and log in again. Okay, hold on. Now it's giving me the puzzle piece that I can do. Okay. All right. I don't know if I got cut off or not, guys. But I'm going to pick up where I left off because TikTok was making me verify that I was still here. I was talking about theta healing. So now I thank RJHB for the rose. I was talking about theta healing. I heard that alarm bell go off. So how do you listen to your soul? You listen to those prompts when you feel like something would bring you joy, when you feel like something feels right. It's like people will schedule a session with me. They know it feels right. We do a consultation call. They're like excited about it. But then when it comes time to actually do it, or I'm asking for this form to be signed or the payment to be made or something, they just don't want to do it anymore. They change their mind. Not everyone. I'm saying some people. It's like any business. They'll change their mind. They'll get distracted with life. They'll go do other things. And it's like, hey, you're the one whose soul led you here. I'm not going to make you do anything, but you're missing your soul's calling because you called, you knew it felt right, and you're not doing it. Okay. It's just like you were led to a book or a class and you feel like, yeah, I need to do that. And you buy the book and it sits on your shelf and you don't read it. And your spirit team's like, good Lord, what do? We literally led her to the book that answers these questions she has. It's going to help her grow. It's going to help her heal. And it's sitting on the bookshelf and she's not touching it. I mean, what are you going to do? It's your free will. It's your conscious mind that gets to say yes or no to anything. Okay. And you are creating your reality that way. And then you want to, you, me, us, we want to say, oh, I'm a victim. I don't know how to hear from my soul. I don't know how to get out of this trauma. I don't know how to love myself more. I don't know how to get out of this mess. But you got that book about self-love sitting on your bookshelf that you haven't touched. Or you've got a book on your bookshelf that will help you learn the steps to what it is your soul wants you to learn that you've been asking about, that was the answer to your calling, but you're not reading it. Or you're not taking that class. Or you're not doing that hypnosis session. I mean, that's you creating your reality with your conscious mind, free will. So we're not the victims that we think we are. We're just really not, because there is so much support out there for us. But do we listen? Do we quiet our minds? Do we meditate? Do we listen? Usually, no, not always. Okay. So we really play the victim role really well, though, don't we? Um, your speech has half rights. I don't know what that means. Some people aren't ready. Yeah. If you're not ready, you're not ready. And being in victim mode is one of the biggest signs that you're not ready to change, because you can't change when you're in victim mode. Like let's just use this example. If you're an alcoholic and you're not admitting that you're an alcoholic, you're not going to change. You're not going to go on the path and stop drinking for real. You're a victim. Life has been hard on you. You need an escape, and you're not going to change, or drugs or whatever it might be, right? You're not ready. The bell's ringing your ego. Not, oh my gosh. Yes. Inner silence. Well said. The bells are ringing your ego, not your soul. They create karma for you. This is how they can hypnotize you to believe it. Not sure what that means. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I froze when I had to do that little puzzle piece. Okay. All right, let me get back to my talk about Earth being a trap. I got so far off. Okay. The truth is so much darker than you think. Okay, Sunday Rosberg, thank you for the gift. All right. So what happens? So is Earth a trap? That's where I left off. Not quite. That's not what I see in my sessions. And again, you guys are free to believe anything you want. Let's be respectful. We don't have to believe the same thing. We get to experience whatever we want to believe, right? I'm just telling you what I see, even when I doubt and think, oh, I think Earth's a trap now because life isn't giving me the flavor of ice cream that I want in my life. And then I start to think Earth is a trap and I'm just being siphoned for my energy. And I get in those thoughts too. Then I told you, I get a kick in the butt by having another amazing higher self hypnosis session. And I hear wisdom and revelation that blows my mind. Okay. And then I'm like, there's no way. It's not. I just got into the human thinking and fell into the trap of thinking that Earth is a trap. But no, like I get clarity. Okay. Just like the clients, when they come and do these hypnosis sessions, they get so much clarity. I get clarity by being the one observing and listening to their session. I get clarity. I get wisdom. I get downloads. I get information. Okay. So it's not just them. I get to be under that too, which is so amazing that I get to do this. Okay. But the soul's journey here, we know it's no joke. Okay. Here's what I've learned after guiding hundreds, over 1,000 higher self hypnosis session, that Earth isn't a prison. This is what I've learned. Okay. Again, take it or leave it. It's a transformation chamber. Let me say that again. It's a transformation chamber. It's summer school. Okay. You're here to learn an intense course. And the souls who choose to be here now, like, yeah, you took on a big challenge. You did. But you did it. Okay. But that doesn't mean it's easy. Just because you took on the challenge does not mean that it's easy. So what happens when you die? Are you tricked? Right? Let's talk about that. Are you tricked? If you want to schedule a 15-minute phone call with me, go to my website, wokelightworker.com, or click the link in my bio, and I can give you information, my pricing, the types of sessions I offer. It's totally transparent, you guys. It's on my website, wokelightworker.com, if you want to do a session like this, okay? To get a ton of answers from your higher self all in one session. Like it's awesome. Okay. So what happens when you die? Are you tricked? It's a huge concern for many, and especially those deep in the spiritual awakening journey. People say, don't go to the light. It's a trap. They pretend to be angels and guides, but they're not. They're tricking you into reincarnating. And I want to meet that fear with compassion. Okay. So yes, I've had sessions where clients have questioned the motives of beings on the other side. And I've seen manipulative energies. Okay. I've seen those in my sessions. Okay. I'm not going to go into telling you stories about that because that's off topic, but I've seen them. So discernment is essential, but I've also witnessed something else, something beyond words, you guys. Okay. So I had a woman sob the other day in her session, sob uncontrollably for 5 minutes. I had to just be quiet and sit there for 5 minutes and wait for her to stop crying. Because when she died in her previous life, we followed her through the death, and then we followed her soul as she went up into the non-physical realm. And she saw a flash of creator's energy, of creator. And she described it as being this incredible blue color. And it so impacted her and touched her that for 5 minutes, she sat there just sobbing. She was trying to talk to me, but I couldn't understand a word that she said because she was sobbing and just bawling from her gut. I could hear it from her gut. She just cried and cried because of the overwhelming love that she felt, the purity, the vastness, and the homecoming. And it shattered every wall that she had built. I mean, she saw life from a completely different perspective after she had a touch of creator in that session. Okay. So tell me that that's fake. I don't see it. I don't see that it's fake. So, let me see what else some people are saying. Let me see. All right. So no matter, it wasn't trickery. That wasn't trickery. That was truth. I mean, she felt it at her core. And she said after she came out of the session, she's like, that was the most intense, incredible thing I have ever felt. Like I can't even describe it, she said. So, and no matter how dark things get here on earth, that source energy is real. It lives inside of you. You can access it and you can remember it. Okay. So let's talk about looping pain, like why looping pain happens. You have the same patterns over and over. For a consultation call today, and she was talking about, yep, I keep getting in relationships where I'm abused again and again and again, and I just want to find out, how do I stop this? Why does it keep happening? Okay. Does our soul become angels after we pass if our soul wants to? I don't know that we could become some of us are angels. I don't know. That's a little bit off topic. So let's save that for maybe another day. But there's infinite things you can do and experience. Okay. On the other side, and going forward as a soul, so many things. It's just infinite. Okay. So do you ever feel like you're stuck in the same emotional loop? You have the same heartbreak, same fear of money, the same self-doubt, no matter what you do. So here's the truth. You're not failing. You're not broken. You're in a soul pattern that's ready to be dissolved. Okay. It keeps reappearing for it to bubble to the surface. So you finally get so sick and tired of it that you just want to find relief. Okay. It's just like if you had a big scratch on your arm and you keep picking it and it just never heals and it gets infected, it's demanding your attention. And so these looping patterns are just demanding your attention. It's like your soul telling, Dolores Cannon calls our mind Mr. Stupid Head, okay? Because it thinks it knows everything, okay? It's telling Mr. Stupid Head, hello, like you're not learning what you're supposed to be learning. Like, how do you not love yourself enough to walk away from those abusive relationships? You're in like the fourth one now. Like, are you going to get it? Or do I need to just make it a little more intense for you so you can finally learn to love yourself enough to walk away from those types of relationships? Okay. So pain loops are not punishment. Okay. Again, you have the choice, right? You get to choose. You're a victim because all these terrible things keep happening to you, or you're a victor because you decided to go the opposite way. You didn't love yourself enough before. Oh, wait, let me try loving myself enough to walk away from those abusive relationships. So you do, and now you're a victor, right? It's the hero's journey, right? You learned through contrast. Remember, Earth is a school of contrast. You learned how it felt to not love yourself. You tasted that, and now you swung the other way and you decided to love yourself enough, believe in your self-worth enough that you didn't want to tolerate abusive behavior anymore. Congratulations, right? You took yourself out of that looping pattern. You did it, right? But you're not going to take yourself out of it if you're stuck in victim mentality. Oh, why does this keep happening to me? This is just my lot in life. This always happens. All men suck. Okay, well, keep creating that. Yeah, your words create things, so just keep creating that. And your soul will go, there she goes again. She's got that belief that all men suck. So, okay, she's just going to get sucky men that come her way, right? So, it's what are you doing? You're not a victim, okay? And if you're in a victim mentality, you might not be ready for this, and that's fine. That's fine. It's totally fine. If you don't learn it in this life, you have other lives you can learn it in, because your soul's not going to let you off the hook. It's just not. I told you at the beginning, your soul has a soul plan. Maybe there's like 190 things on it that it wants to learn through physical incarnations before it just stays in the non-physical. Okay, let's just say we're just using a random number. And until you learn them, your soul's going to be like, we're going to go back again because you didn't learn that self-love thing. You didn't learn self-love. You didn't learn how to set healthy boundaries for yourself. So let's go do it again. Okay, so let's say this is your 5th life trying to learn that. And you might be saying, oh my God, I feel like my soul is tired. Like I'm tired. I can't handle this anymore. Well, you're probably right. Your soul is tired, but it's tired because your conscious mind keeps saying yes to not loving itself instead of saying yes to loving itself. So it's you, it's your costume, it's your avatar that's deciding to use its free will to not love itself, to not learn how to love itself. Okay? There you go. So pain loops are not punishments, they're messengers. Okay. So they show you where your power is trapped, where your ego is still running the show, where your soul is whispering, please, can you just remember? Right. But no, your ego is running the show. The avatar here, the personality, the costume that you're wearing, the role that you're playing in this lifetime is the one running the show. Okay. So when you truly decide that you're done looping in that same pain, when you will say, show me what's underneath this. When you humble yourself and realize that you aren't the know-it-all that you think you are, right? You're not the stubborn human anymore. Show me what's underneath this. That's when your soul, your higher self, can step in and actually offer you some guidance. Okay. And that is where your reality can begin to shift. Okay. Even there's a scripture in the Bible. It says, if my people will humble themselves and pray, I will hear them and I will heal their land. Okay. So we have to humble ourselves, right? Turn to spirit instead of turning to the human side, going, oh, us humans need to fix this planet. Turn to God too, right? Humble yourself, turn to spirit, and pray and truly ask for help and be open to help from the other side. Okay. But you're not going to get that help if you're just busy living the dream in your mind and not asking for help from spirit. And then you go, well, how do I hear from my soul? Well, you actually have to listen, right? Thank you, Angelia. Thank you for the rose. So you have to listen to your spirit, because otherwise you're not going to hear it. It's not going to yell at you over top of your ego, right? Because you're all listening to your ego. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a real client story about remembering the truth. Okay, so this person's name is made up. I have permission in writing from every client that I do a session with that I get to share their stories. I don't give away any identifying information, and it's for teaching purposes. Okay, so if you're worried about that, don't need to worry about how I run my business. I got my business. let's say her name is Lisa. She met a boy, and it's a soul that she left behind in a past life. She's holding his hand, and she said, "He is the hope that I left behind." So she lived 5 years with him, just 5. But in that time, in that 5 years, she healed. She felt warm again. She connected again. She started farming. She smiled, and she had a dog named Rudy. And her lesson was, don't get lost in the darkness. Look for the light. Find joy. That was the message for her in her past life session. And then I had somebody else, let's call her Kim. Kim realized that she was walking through life like she was stuck in a swamp. That's exactly how her higher self described it, like she was walking through a swamp. Okay. Why? Because she forgot. She forgot that she was never meant to suffer this way. And these were her words, looking at this life from hindsight. We say hindsight is 2020. So she's outside of this life, looking at this life and says, I was never meant to suffer this way. Her higher self said, you have been arguing with yourself. You punish yourself with emotion. You hold on because it's human. Humans do that, but it's not necessary. This is what her higher self said. Okay. I'm reading a quote that I wrote on my computer. So it was funny when she did her session, her higher self said that she had like a big maze in her mind, and it was full of dead ends. She had all these dead ends in her mind. So her higher self cleared out that maze in her mind that she had created with all those dead ends. And she was laughing in her session as she could see her higher self showing her the image in her mind of all these dead ends. So my client was like laughing as she was watching it happen. Okay. She laughed. We all laughed because suddenly she could see that she had been so attached. Thank you, Kiwis, again, for the hand heart. She had been so attached to being human. Okay. Again, human is a role. Okay. When your soul sends a fractal of itself to Arcturus to be an Arcturian, that's a role you're playing. You're not Arcturian, really. You may identify as being an Arcturian because maybe that was like your first incarnation and who you kind of like identified with, or you might say I'm Syrian, but you're a soul. You're not Arcturian, you're not Syrian. You identify with them, right? Just like you're not an earthling, right? Just because you incarnate on Earth, you might be on Earth and say, no, I'm Arcturian. Well, you're on Earth, so right now you're an earthling, right? But you're not any of those things. You're identifying with that, okay? So those, again, are like just beliefs that we have, and you can identify with anything you want. You can identify with you can identify as a cow. You can identify, I'm a whale, I'm a porpoise, I'm a dolphin. You can identify with anything. It doesn't matter, right? But she said, you're punishing yourself with emotion. You're attaching yourself to being a human with emotions. But her soul was right there, right? And she attached, so her soul said she's attaching so much as being a human that she's missing the voice of her soul. She's just not hearing it. She's so attached to being a human. Okay. So, and then I have this other woman, her session, let's call her Karen. Okay. Karen this might be like kind of a mystical sounding thing, but she's a crystalline light anchor on Earth, a powerful being from a planet called Ashton. Okay. It might sound similar to other planets, but it was Ashton. Okay. And her session revealed how Earth is overlaid with interference grids and how fear and people pleasing are programmed as part of the game into our bodies. Okay. And how body upgrades and higher dimensional healing is possible. But again, these things happen when you learn how to connect to your higher self and your soul. Did my client, Karen, know these things before she did her session? No, she had no idea. She was schooled or taught by her higher self. She did 5 different really intense sessions with me. And through these sessions, we just kind of built them all one on top of the other. And she got to learn all these like really amazing, I guess I'll call them high level things about herself. I mean, that she's a crystalline light anchor and what that is and what she does and what her role is. And then her higher self. Actually, we spent a lot of time talking about different programs that are part of this game here on Earth. Okay. So, and that's actually all her session, like some more information. It's going to come out, over time, but I don't want to get too in the weeds with that. Okay. So, yeah, is it true? I am you, you are we are one. There is only one. And I want to get into the weeds on that because that's not what this is about. It's talking about if Earth is a prison or not, prison planet or not. But yes. Let me see. Can you speak to my higher self? Yes, in hypnosis. I speak to your higher self and ask questions. Yeah. Paper wrote, so I can't pronounce what your username is. She says, I have friends who ask for help, but then they refuse to follow the advice I give them. Right. We were talking about that earlier. You have a conscious mind. Your conscious mind is the one who decides yes or no. That's your free will, right? So you can decide yes or no. You want to listen to your friend. You want to listen to your parent. You want to listen to your boss. You want to listen to your soul, right? We have that free will to listen or not listen, to follow the promptings or the advice or the wisdom. We don't have to. It's our journey. We can do whatever we want. And we get to experience the consequences of every decision we make, right? If we eat healthy and we eat lots of fruits and vegetables and we take extra care with our diet, we get to experience the benefits of healthy eating. If we don't eat healthy and we just snack on Doritos and Coca-Cola all the time, then we get to experience the consequences of that kind of eating. So everything is a choice. And like I said, all through this, that this is a planet of contrast. It's a planet of duality. Okay. So any choice we make is 100% ours. We're not a victim, right? In that sense, we got to choose what we were going to eat. We're not a victim of our eating. We chose what we were going to put in our mouth. Let me see. How do you know if your soul's making the decision and not your ego? Well, that's a long answer. Let me see. Yeah, we know if we're on track we know if we're on track if we're learning our life lessons. How do we know if our soul is making the decision? Well, you learn to hear your soul. If you learn to listen to your soul and hear your soul, you'll know what that sounds like, right? And it feels better than listening to our ego. But like I said, I gave those examples earlier when my higher self told me to take a particular class or a training or something like that. Like I felt joy doing it. It felt fun, right? I hear all the time in sessions, be joyful, have fun. Our souls want us to have more fun. We take life too seriously and we get too stuck and caught in the emotions. So joy, fun, it feels fun. It feels creative. And we just learn how to listen to that voice by doing those fun, creative things, by spending time in meditation, right? We learn to hear from our soul, okay? We were born here because of karma or because we decided. Normally, it's because either us or someone on our spirit team or our soul, it's usually our soul, decides that we need to learn a particular lesson. Or we decided to come and assist someone else. We decided we would come here and incarnate with someone. They're like, okay, fine, I'll go be your mom, right? We'll just kind of do it like half reluctantly. Now, are there cases where the person was up in the spirit and they did not want to come down and incarnate? Yes, I've seen that, where they didn't want to. They reluctantly came down. It's kind of like, I don't want to take this gross tasting medicine but I know I have to because it's for my better good. And so they don't want to, but they cede, C-E-D-E, they agree to do this because they know that they're going to need to tackle it at one time or another because it's part of their soul path. And they're not going to get out of the lesson, but they really don't want to taste that bitter, nasty medicine. And so they do it not wanting to. So it's kind of like that. I've seen that more than a few times. I've seen a soul talk about it like that in the life in between life stage. Okay. Okay. Powerful tools to reconnect to your higher self. Let's talk about that. I'm going to give you guys some tips. Okay. So if you want to learn how to reconnect to your higher self. Okay. 1, you have to silence the static. And the static, it's not your mind, it's the world. Okay. So unplug. No scrolling, no notifications, no outside input, no news, no media, nothing. Like you have to silence the static. Get out in nature. Oh my gosh, if I had $1 for every time someone's higher self told them to get in nature, I'd have like a lot of money. Okay. I mean, in their sessions, they'll be told more than once, you need to get out in nature. And almost every single person's higher self tells them that. They've got to silence the static. And that's one way to do it. Unplug completely. And their higher self say, and don't bring your phone or don't have it on while you're hiking, while you're spending time in nature. So silencing the static of the world. Okay. That's number 1. All right. Make it an effort every so often, every week, every other week, whatever you can do. And here's number 2. Ask yourself some, I'll call them soul disrupting questions. So stop asking, what's wrong with me? Why am I here? Why is this happening to me? Right? You can say instead, here's a more empowering way to say this. Okay. What is it in me that is out of alignment with truth? The truth of how things really are with my soul. Okay. What is it in me that's out of alignment with truth that's causing me to feel so yucky or so crappy or like a victim or like why is this happening to me? What is it in me that is out of alignment with truth with a capital T, creator's truth? Okay. That's causing me to feel so crappy. Because when you're listening to your soul, you're not feeling crappy, right? You're not feeling crappy when you listen to your soul. You're feeling crappy when you listen to the human side. That's when you feel yucky and crappy. Okay. So what is it in me that's out of alignment? What am I believing to be true that's not really true? Like truth, capital T. Okay. Here's another question you can ask yourself. What loop is keeping me stuck and who taught it to me? Right? What loop is keeping me stuck and who taught it to me? So we carry patterns and beliefs and loops that didn't even come from us. They come from mom. And when we're so distracted with life and so distracted with the world, we're not investigating or stopping to look, wait, why do I even have that belief? Why do I believe this or that to be true? Like I was talking to someone the other day and they might actually be on here listening. So it was, you have to screw people over in order to be rich. You have to take advantage of the poor in order to be rich. And I was like, wait a minute. I am not going to believe that. I don't know if you want to believe it, but I don't want to believe that because I don't want that to be creating my reality. Because if I am rich, I'm not going to get there by screwing over poor people. That's not a truth. That might be how some people do it, but that's not how everyone does it. And that's not how I would ever do it. So I'm not going to adopt that belief. So who taught him or her that belief that you have to screw the poor in order to get rich? They picked it up somewhere. Where? So it's taking beliefs like that, or money doesn't grow on trees, or you have to work really hard in order to make it, right? Or what the Lord giveth, the government taketh away. All these just little sayings and stuff that we have, these beliefs that we have. Where did you get it? And why are you now living that belief? Why are you adopting that belief and making it like it's yours? So it's looking at different beliefs that you have and saying, who taught that to me? And why am I carrying it? Okay. Yes. I don't know your username. Someone asked, do you ever ask the higher self about Loosh? Yes. I've asked higher self about Loosh. Loosh is real. Loosh is energy. That there are beings on this planet. It's part of this earth game. I told you, we know the rules before we come here. Everyone knows earth rules before we come here. Your conscious mind doesn't know them. Your soul knows them. Your conscious mind wasn't up there planning this life. Your soul was, right? But Loosh is energy. Think of the animated movie Monsters, Inc., where they harvest the energy from those kids being in fear and screaming. And so that is the harvested energy from fear. Thank you, Emily, for the rose. That's the harvested energy from fear. And so, yes, it's real. Sadness, fear, intense emotions, right? So we get angry, anything like that. We're going to a march to show this or that. And we're not just going neutral, we're going angry. And that produces energy that these beings who are part of this game on earth, they harvest that Loosh. That's energy for them. Okay. Another question you can ask your higher self, you guys, is higher self, what do I need to remember right now? Like, what do I, as a soul, need to remember that can help me? Because right now I'm feeling really stuck. I'm feeling blocked. I'm feeling trapped. I'm feeling like I don't want to be here, like I don't want to live anymore. What am I not remembering? And just quiet your mind and listen. And it may not come to you. The answer may not come to you that minute. It might come to you when you are in the shower, where all the epiphanies happen. It might come to you when you're washing the dishes and your mind happens to be a little clearer. It's not going to come to you when you're scrolling on your phone, right? Unless your higher self leads you to some video or something that pops up on TikTok that actually happens to be just talking about that topic. But those are some key questions that you can ask your higher self, okay? So what am I thinking or feeling right now that's out of alignment with truth, with a capital T, that's making me feel this way? What loops do I have or beliefs do I have that are keeping me stuck, and who taught them to me? And higher self, what do I need to remember right now? So those are some key questions. You guys can use those as takeaways. But then wait, the answer will arise when the noise settles, okay? Your higher self, your soul is not going to scream over the noise in your mind of your ego. It's not going to compete with the noise of your ego and your beliefs that you keep looping around and saying. Okay. All right. So raise the light on purpose. I use this tool. Okay. Myself. So when you feel like you're lost in darkness, it's because your light got covered. Let's just say it like that. You know that little kid song? If you grew up in church, you'll know this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Hide it under a bush. Oh no, I'm going to let it shine. So your light got covered. It was hiding under a bush. It got covered. And in that density where your light is covered, it's really hard to hear from spirit. You only hear the fear, the pain, and maybe even dark entities. You're hearing them, the ones whispering in your ear. They're part of this game too. Okay. Just like humans, they're part of this game. Just like angels are here, they're part of this game. Dark entities, or you might want to call them demons, are part of this game. Okay. So you start hearing those voices. You start hearing the pain. You start hearing the fear. So what is the way out when you are feeling low like that? Because it's really easy when you're feeling so low like that to continue thinking repeated thoughts about why your life is awful. I get there. I do this. Okay. You start thinking about 100 other reasons why your life sucks. And you remember all these awful things that have happened to you. And yep, there again. Oh yeah, now that's another instance. I mean, I get there, guys. I was there a couple weeks ago. I told you, just because you're on a spiritual journey doesn't mean you don't feel, and doesn't mean that you have everything figured out and everything's perfect. I'm just sharing with you what I learned through many, many, many people's higher selves. Okay. So this is the way out. Feel joy, feel love, and feel hope. So even a flicker of it is enough to punch a hole in the dark. So the soul just needs that one opening, that punch through that balloon. And then the soul will try to reach you. If you're seeking help, if you're seeking answers. Okay. So my job is to create that window for the soul to be able to get through the noise, to get through the emotions, to get through the feelings that are dark and heavy. It just needs that window. So we are the ones that have to create that window, right? So how can you create that window so that your soul can start talking to you? Whatever brings you joy. Laugh, dance, do breath work, right? You can just breathe. One of my favorite, guys, I have it on my phone. And since I'm broadcasting on my phone, I can't look it up, but I know it by heart now. But I have a screensaver. I typed it on my computer, took a picture of it. And this is what I say. I put my hand on my heart and I say, I take a deep breath and I say, I love you. And then I say, I forgive you. And then I say, I choose peace and calm. And then I take another deep breath and I say, I'm doing the best I can, one step at a time. That's it, right? That is the screensaver to remind me how to center myself, ground myself, and create that window of quieting the noise and the darkness that can cover my light, cover my mind, and open a window, just a moment for my soul to be able to talk to me, to be able to give me an idea. Okay. Maybe in that moment when I escaped the darkness for a moment, not by drugs, not by alcohol, not by vegging out in front of Netflix, not by scrolling on my phone, I created intentionally as a window for my soul. Okay. Then I can start to feel maybe a flicker of hope, right? Even for a moment. But that's how you turn the signal back on. It's like your lamp got unplugged. That electrical cord, you're the light, you're the lamp, and it was plugged in and somebody pulled the plug. You pulled the plug by getting lost in these dark feelings, right? So doing that just by saying something like that, like make something, put it on your screensaver, okay? Putting your hand on your heart, and the breath helps too, right? I love myself. I forgive myself. I choose peace and calm. Like I'm telling myself what I'm choosing. Okay. Maybe you choose something else, right? I choose peace and calm. Another breath. I'm doing the best I can, one step at a time. It reminds me that I just need to take one step at a time. I don't have to have it all figured out now. I don't have to climb out of this hole now. I can just take one step. Okay. So create a screensaver like that, maybe like I just did. I just did that recently. I got that idea. Guys, I got that idea in a meditation, talking to my higher self in the morning before I get out of bed. I meditate. I don't start my day unless I do this little ritual that includes just checking in with my soul, even if it's 5 minutes. Sometimes I have an hour. This was one of my little longer ones the other day. And so I create purposefully, I create that window for my soul to be able to talk to me. Because again, it's not going to scream at me over the fear, over the pain. Thank you for the rose. It's not going to, that soul that gives me that idea is not screaming at me. over scrolling on my phone. It's not screaming at me. You know, it's talking. I will tell you when it does talk to me. When my soul talks to me, I'm listening to a teaching, right? I'll be listening to a spiritual teaching that's teaching me new concepts, how to change my perspective, how to listen or live from truth. So maybe it's something like this. My soul is talking to me in the background, like I can hear it going, yeah, that's it. Oh, use that. Yeah, let's use that. Maybe let's make a screensaver like that, right? Oh, yeah, let's create that window, right? Like you hear things like that. That's your soul talking to you while you're listening to things that can help you change your mindset and have a better life so that life doesn't feel like such a trap. Okay. And when I'm listening to teaching, when I'm reading books, I don't know what I did with that book. I'll show you guys. Hold on. I have a book that I'm reading now, and I have a book club going. We're almost done with it. It's incredible. It's deep. Okay. So if you're new to spirituality, you can still do it, obviously, but I'm just telling you, I wasn't ready for it when I first got the book. Now I was ready for it, but it's called A Happy Pocket Full of Money. And I'm not even going to, Gikandi, David Cameron Gikandi, I think, but Happy Pocket Full of Money. It's one of the many books I'm reading right now. But when I'm reading, my higher self, my spirit team is talking to me. So like I'll read, let me get an example. Oh my gosh, guys, talk about spirit, like talking exactly what we were talking about. I literally just flipped it open to a random page. You can see I highlight a lot in my book, a lot. This is the sentence that I highlighted that I flipped open the book to. It says, your purpose cannot be something that does not give you joy and satisfaction. Your purpose cannot be something that does not give you joy and satisfaction. So again, A Happy Pocket Full of Money, incredible book. Your purpose cannot be something that does not give you joy and satisfaction, right? Define your purpose in life clearly. Keep it high in your thoughts at all times and declare it. Align your thoughts, your words, and your action with your purpose at all times, and your life will be filled and satisfying. Okay. Anyway, so good book, A Happy Pocket Full of Money. Recommend that one, but I have so many books I'm reading right now. Here's my other one, guys. Hold on, let me grab it. This is another one. I just got it. I'm only a few pages into it. I read like 7 books at a time. It's weird. I don't know. I just can't read one because I want to jump around and get a bunch of wisdom from all of them. And then I usually have about 2 or 3 audiobooks going at the same time too. But this is famous author. Everyone knows his book called The 4 Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz. Okay. So he wrote The 4 Agreements, and then he has a book called The 5th Agreement. And then he has a bunch of other books, but this one I just ordered and I'm just starting it. It's called The Voice of Knowledge by Don Miguel Ruiz, The Voice of Knowledge. And just reading the first few pages is incredible. His books are amazing. And then he's got a son, Don Miguel Ruiz Jr., who has got incredible books, incredible, like The Mastery of Self. Probably one of the most incredible books I've ever read. The Mastery of Self. It's amazing. It's incredible. But you know what, guys? If you actually want a list of spiritual books that I've read that have helped teach me, you can go to my website, wokelightworker.com. There's a tab on my website that says shop, SHOP. And then there's a category. It says spiritual books I recommend. If you click there, it will take you to an Amazon page where I listed them all out so you can look. And I put them in the order that if I were to go back and read them all in, like in what order, I have them in the order that I would read them all, like in that order. So whether you read it or it's an audiobook, but those, I haven't added this most recent one because I just got it, The Voice of Knowledge, but I'll be adding that to the list. But you can go check it out there. Again, wokelightworker.com. And that's where you can find some of my free courses and stuff too. That's where you can schedule a free 15-minute phone consultation with me. And that's only if you're serious about wanting to do a higher self hypnosis session. You can call and find out if it's a good fit and have some questions answered. But all that information is also on my website. I have all my information on my website, like sample questions you can ask your higher self, things like that. So that's all on my website, wokelightworker.com. Okay. So again, let's go back to talking about creating a window. Samantha said, I'm so happy I'm not the only one reading multiple books. Like, I'm crazy about books. I get at least 1 or 2 new books every week. It's crazy. Like, I just love books. But I was telling you guys that when I'm reading, my higher self will also, my soul will be talking to me while I'm reading. Because I'll read that sentence like, right? If you're following your purpose, it should feel joyful. And I'll sit there and think, wow, yeah, that's what I want to do. Okay. And then I might hear an idea pop up in my head because I'm thinking about what I just read. I don't read like speed read through these books. No, never, never, never. I actually just like study them as I'm reading them, and I contemplate and I think about them. And when I'm thinking about that sentence, I might hear something like, yeah, you know, that business idea that you had, maybe you should revisit that, right? So maybe I think, oh, I should revisit that. Yeah, maybe I should. That's my soul talking to me, right? So while I'm reading, I'm hearing from my soul. While I'm meditating, for sure, I'm hearing from my soul. I told you guys the example of that little breath and affirmation exercise that I have on my phone that I got while I was in meditation. Doing something that brings you joy. That's another way to connect to your soul, because your energy, your frequency is at a higher vibration. And when you're at a higher vibration and you're not sitting in low frequency sadness, victim mentality, depression, you're in a higher frequency, that's when your soul has an easier time reaching you. Okay. So, okay, let me go on. I'm looking at my notes, guys. Owen, thank you, Owen. Thank you. You said you love my work. You guys know, I don't know if you know, you can go to my YouTube channel. And again, the name is the same. It's Woke Lightworker. And I have 9 full hypnosis sessions. They're from the past. I don't have any real recent ones out there because I need a video editor. If any of you guys are like really good at editing videos, and I don't even need complicated stuff, it's actually really easy, but you have to know what you're doing. I would trade someone to edit some of my videos for me in exchange for a session. So if that's you and you're really interested, I have to talk to you first and make sure that the session is a good fit for you, that you can visualize, and that you would be ready, willing, and able to do a session. And that's part of the discovery call that I have with people. But I need someone to edit some videos for me so I can get some more of my recent sessions that my clients have given me permission to post. I need to get those on my YouTube channel so you guys have more to watch. But I have 9 sessions on my YouTube channel that are a little bit older, but it's still my work. And you can watch them and watch the person talk about their traumas, their life, their drama. And you can hear them see and get downloads and images of their past life, and they'll describe what they're seeing or what they're hearing. You'll hear them talk about what they did in between lives when they were not in a body. And then you'll hear them channel their higher self. And it is so cool. Okay. If you want to hear someone's life, go search on my YouTube channel for the name Nita, Nita, Nita. She went through some trauma, and then you'll hear the incredible session she had with her higher self. So that's one of my sessions that I have on my YouTube channel. So you can actually listen to them. They're long, so you're going to have some time or break it in pieces to listen to it. But it's incredible hearing people's higher self and the wisdom and the healing that they get. So you can find those actual client sessions that were on Zoom, because I do them on Zoom. So I do them all over the world, but you can hear them on my YouTube channel to hear someone else and watch someone else in hypnosis or in that relaxed meditative state, talking to their higher self, hearing from their higher self, looking at their past life. So again, you can just find those on my YouTube channel under the name Woke Lightworker. Okay. All right. So why do we forget? Okay. And when we remember, how does it change everything? So why do we forget who we are? We forget who we are because we go through the veil of forgetfulness. So many people's higher selves have called it that very thing. They call it the veil of forgetfulness. It's all part of the earth game. Remember, I told you there's rules to every game, just like Monopoly, just like Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza. If you guys haven't played that game, like, you need to play it. It's super fun. Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza. But that is one of the rules. You go through the veil of forgetfulness. Okay. It's just one of the rules. And we know this before we come down, and we do it anyway. So, and when we go through the veil of forgetfulness, there's also density down here, right? There's trauma. Our brains are not designed to remember without some effort on our part. Of course, there's the exceptions. People come down here and they're like, oh, I remember everything, but that's not the norm. Okay. That's the minority. And when we get too lost in our human story, too lost in the pain, we become convinced that that is all there is. Yeah, children, why do children remember? Kimmy wants to know, why do children remember? Not all children remember, okay? Not all children, but it's more common in children because they have had less time to be programmed on how you fit into this human drama and fit into this matrix, right? They haven't been plugged into the matrix as long as we have, okay? So let me repeat that, because this is key, guys, and I keep hearing this in my sessions. We get too lost in the human story. We get too lost in the pain, and we become convinced that this is all there is. We are identifying with the actor in the play, right? We're identifying with the actor in the play, the human us in this play on earth, instead of the real us that's in the spirit, right? And it's probably the same when we go incarnate on Sirius, okay, the planet Sirius or Arcturus. We go incarnate there. We probably jump in there hook, line, and sinker too. We probably think that's who we are, right? I am Syrian. I am Arcturian. I am a blue avian, right? We probably identify with that too. It's part of the game of incarnating in physical places. It's part of the game. We jump in with both feet and we take on the role. Okay. Orbic girl, how are we addicted to suffering? I've talked about that before, and I don't want to get too lost. So I'm probably not going to get into that too much, being addicted to suffering. We are addicted to suffering. We just continue, but we're addicted to suffering because we're identified with the human story that we've created here, right? Before we came here, we weren't a human. Like, we're in the spirit realm. Like, when I do my life in between life hypnosis part of their session, if you guys go to my YouTube channel again, watch a session, you'll hear what they do in between lives. Okay. You'll see. They're not identified with a human body. They're not identified with a human experience. They're not identified with being betrayed. They're not identified feeling rejected. They're not identified with feeling abandoned. They're not identified with any of this that we are identified with. They're free of that. They're not in that costume playing that role anymore. We, us in the spirit realm, we're not identified with that role. And that's why many times we are so excited to think about going and learning and getting another experience, or going back and incarnating with that same person again, that same soul again. Like, oh my God, I loved incarnating with you. That was so amazing. Let's go do it again. Like, we can get like that. I hear stories like that because we're not identified with the human stuff when we're up there. Okay. All right. So we become convinced that there's all that is, but this is not all there is. I said, right? Our soul knows. It knows our soul is not tricked. Okay. So we say, Earth, you're just tricked into coming here. Our soul is not here. It's not tricked into coming here. It's not lost. Our soul is the one whispering to us, hey, I know the truth. If you just create that window, that opening for me to talk to you, I can tell you what's really going on here. I can tell you how your thoughts are out of alignment with truth. I can tell you how you're focusing on the human stuff and you're not focusing on your relationship with Creator. I can remind you of that. Okay? But if you're identified with the human self and you're in the pain and you're in the suffering, and I am depressed and I am sick and I am this and I am rejected and I am abandoned. Not to say that those aren't feelings you're having. I'm not belittling that. Okay. I'm not. I feel compassion. I feel those things too. It's not just anyone else, and I'm not exempt from it. Okay. But it's because we're not listening to our soul. We haven't created that opening for our soul to remind us of the truth. Okay? We're not creating that opening. So, let me see. What did I write? When you create that opening, every time you choose healing, every time you choose to listen to that inner truth, you can start remembering. Okay? Love returns. And then these looping patterns can start to dissolve, right? Okay. And Earth, then you can see that Earth becomes a place that you came to experience transformation, not escape, okay? When we're not listening to our soul, when we're not listening to the truth, it's painful and we want to escape. When we are listening and open that window to our soul, we can hear the truth and we can fight for truth. Let me just say, it gives us the energy and the strength to want to fight for truth, to live in that truth, because we're not living in the lie. We're not living in the illusion when we see the truth. Okay? And so we don't need to escape, right? We're doing things. We're listening to, okay, let me say this. One of my favorite teachers ever, his name is Bentinho Massaro, okay? And one of the things he says is follow the breadcrumb trail of excitement. It leads you to your purpose. It leads you to joy, okay? Follow the breadcrumb trail of excitement. So if something excites you, do it, right? As long as you're not hurting anyone else. I mean, hopefully it doesn't excite you to hurt other people, but that's different. Then you're not listening to your soul anyway. But follow the breadcrumb trail of excitement. And so what that means is if you have a choice, and Bashar says that too, if you have a choice between two things, choose the one that brings you the most joy. So if you have a choice between going for a walk in nature, because you want to get some exercise, going for a walk in nature or a hike, or going swimming, lap swimming in the pool, think about it for a second. Which one would bring me more joy? Let me think about swimming in the pool. Oh, that'd feel really nice and refreshing. I'm a swimmer, so I love this, right? It feels nice and refreshing, like it clears my mind. I meditate the whole time I'm swimming back and forth because there's nothing else for my mind to do. Yeah, that would be really good. But being in nature, man, smelling that fresh air, connecting with the trees, the quiet, getting away from the energy of other people around me. Yeah, I think that brings me a little bit more joy. I'm going to do that. Another time I'll choose swimming, right? But follow the breadcrumb trail of excitement, or like Bashar says, if you have a choice between two things, choose the one that brings you the most joy at that moment, right? And that is you listening to your soul, okay? So, you were never meant to do this journey alone. I'm going to start to wrap it up here, guys, but you were never meant to do this journey alone. We just think that we're here alone. We live, that's another part of the illusion, part of the game of Earth is this feeling of separation. The reason is, and I hear this in my sessions, this is not me saying it, the reason we experience that separation, thank you, Sunday, for the hand heart. The reason we have this feeling of experiencing the illusion of separation is to drive us back to remembering that we're not separated. Remember at the very beginning, if you weren't here, I said Earth is a planet of contrast. It's a planet of duality. Okay, we experience the feeling of separation, and then we experience the feeling of unity and oneness. We get to choose, right? And we often start at the side of feeling separated and alone and isolated. And that pain is a messenger because we don't like it and we feel miserable and we don't want to be here. But instead of sitting in the misery and the pain and the thoughts of, I don't want to be here, this sucks, I don't want to be here, it's actually meant instead to drive us to swing the other way, to experience what is it like to remember that I'm not separated, that I am one with everyone and everything, and I'm never separated from Creator because He is the vine, we are the branches, right? Directly from the Bible. He is the vine, we are the branches. You don't see branches floating in midair by themselves, alone and isolated and separated. Branches are connected and one with the tree, with the vine. So it's remembering that we are the branch connected to the vine and we're not really separated. It's just an illusion. Again, it's part of the game. One of the rules of the game, you come through that veil of forgetfulness, forgetting that you are the branch connected to the vine. And so we can choose to believe whichever one we want. And we're surrounded by people and we're influenced by people who live in that same illusion that they're separated, right? Thank you, Debbie. Thank you. We live under that illusion that we're separated because it's kind of a collective conscious belief. So again, remember I said earlier, one of the things you do is you say, what loop or what thought or what belief is keeping me stuck? And who taught that to me? Is it just something I hear all the time? Is it something I feel and experience? Why am I believing that? Why am I choosing to believe that? Because whatever I believe is creating my reality. I'm creating my reality with my beliefs. So if I'm choosing to believe that, that's what's creating my reality. Maybe that's why I feel so miserable, because I'm living under the illusion, the false belief that I'm separate, that I'm alone, that God's not there for me, that I'm unsupported, right? That's been a big challenge for me, is feeling supported in this life because I grew up in a family that did not support me, right? And so probably a lot of you the same thing, and you struggle with feeling supported. But it's breaking through the illusory things because we got to experience, what does it feel like to be unsupported? Ugh, it feels terrible. It's hard, right? And we created a lot of things from that belief that we were unsupported. Look at your life. You maybe created things in our life from that belief that we're unsupported. So, I have the ability on this earth, which a lot of beings on other planets do not have this ability, FYI. I can change my belief and I can choose to swing the other way and work to reprogram my thoughts, my beliefs, my mind to know the truth with a capital T, that I am supported and that I am one with the Creator and I cannot ever be separated. Like that's an impossibility. So why don't I live under that belief instead? Because I've already created from that other crappy belief that I'm separated. So let me try the other one. And so that is cool. And that is These beings on other planets say, and you can read Dolores Cannon's books to read this too, because I've heard the same thing and it's all over her books. That these other beings watch us with just awe. They watch Earthlings with complete awe, that we have the ability to transmute and change our beliefs to create a completely different life, because we create from our beliefs. We create from our thoughts, because thoughts are things. And when we create from these thoughts and these beliefs, we can change them to create a quote unquote better life that's more fulfilling, things we want to see consciously in our mind, that our conscious mind wants to see. We want to see more abundance. We want to see that we're supported. We want to see that we're accepted. We want to see that we're loved, right? And before, we had the belief that we weren't loved. Before, we had the belief that we weren't accepted. We had the belief that we weren't supported. But we can choose to reprogram, get in touch, create a window to listen to our soul, to teach us the truth, read books, right? Read books that teach us the truth, listen to teachings that teach us the truth, and decide for ourselves, do I want to change that or no? Right? Your conscious mind, again, is the gatekeeper. It gets to decide, yeah, actually, I do want to change that belief. I don't want to live with that belief anymore. Where did I even pick up that dumb belief anyway? I'm changing that right now. But if you or me are so, again, I'm repeating myself a little bit, but I know people are coming and going. If you are so attached to the human side of things that you're just looking at it through the eyes of a human, from the human perspective, from human beliefs that you've been taught, that you've picked up from other people, and you're not giving spirit a chance to come in by opening that window, right, that we talked about earlier. If you're not opening that window for spirit to come in and teach you, then you're not going to connect with that. You're not going to have a desire or even maybe the knowledge on how to change that belief. That's why if you're on this spiritual journey, I tell people it's not for the lazy. You're not going to just wave some magic wand and go, oh, I'm spiritual now. Now everything should change in my life. It doesn't happen like that. You have to actually listen to your soul. You have to learn things. You've been programmed. We've been programmed from the time we were born on how to live and survive as a human, and how to live and survive in this matrix, right? Even the Bible says you're in this world, but you're not of this world, right? But you thought you were of this world up until you woke up to going, wait a minute, I think there's more to this story. I think there's more to life than what I grew up learning. You were programmed your whole school years. You were programmed with the world ways, right? How to sit and be quiet. Raise your hand if you want to speak. All those different things we learn, right? You're programmed by TV. That's why they call them TV programs, right? You're programmed by TV. You're programmed by the media. You're programmed by parents, by others. Guys, I'm telling you, get that book by Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. Just remember the name, The Mastery of Self. The Book of Self-Mastery. It's something like, it's one of those two titles. Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. It will explain all this, in language that's just so, it speaks to you, right? It's incredible. Mastery of Self. But 22,200 likes, angel numbers, right? And Ezra, give me a minute. I will remind everyone how we open the window. I already talked about that, but I'll bring it back again as a summary. How do we open the window to hear from our soul? Okay. I'll come back around to that. Well, let me go there now. Opening the window, silence the static, silence the world, right? Step away from the world, get in nature, go take an Epsom salt bath and put on some soft meditation or Reiki music without scrolling on your phone, right? No outside input, no notifications, no scrolling. Let your nervous system breathe, right? Let your soul come back online, right? Maybe you do it with meditation. Maybe you do it by walking in nature. Maybe you do a meditative walk. You're walking with your dog. So this is what I do a lot. I mean, I do my little meditation in the morning when I wake up before I get out of bed. Sometimes I have longer to lie there and meditate than others, but I do walks with my dog. I walk him about at least 45 minutes, sometimes an hour or longer. I'll walk my husky, and I am listening to teaching, some kind of audiobook, some kind of teaching while I'm walking him. And I said earlier, when I'm doing that, I'm hearing from my soul the whole time that I'm listening to that audiobook. Or I'll just take my earbuds off and start talking to my team. Sometimes I do that too, and I'll ask them a specific question, and I'll just quiet my mind purposely and just wait for their answer and hear them. But otherwise, I'm listening to an audiobook, and I'm really just thinking about what's being said and thinking, how does that apply to me? How can I do that? Oh, I'd like to learn that. Like if there's something new in there that's explained, I'll just stop myself and say right there, I'm like, oh, team, please teach me that. Maybe even give me a download on how I learn that or how that happens when I'm sleeping tonight. I might say that. Okay. So the audiobooks and the books that I have, again, the ones that I recommend, you can go to my website, wokelightworker.com. And there's a tab that says shop, SHOP. And then there it's a list of spiritual books that I recommend. And that book by Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. is in there. All of the ones that I do. Yes, as for a download, as in theta. So you can go there and look for the books that I would recommend. Another way, how do you open the window to hear from your soul? Asking those questions we talked about earlier. Like, what is it in me? Ask your higher self, what is it in me that's out of alignment with truth that's causing me to feel this way? Because my soul is not the one causing me to feel rejected. That's not your soul. My soul is not the one causing me to feel depressed. That's my human self. My soul is not the one causing me to feel betrayed or abandoned. Like that's not my soul doing that. That's my human self feeling that way, the emotional human. So what is the truth that I'm missing that's causing me to feel that way? Like, tell me what the truth, the real truth is, because I'm obviously not believing real truth. Because if I were believing real truth, I wouldn't feel crappy. I wouldn't feel abandoned. I wouldn't feel rejected, because that's not truth, right? With a capital T. That's the first question. Second question, what loop is keeping me stuck and who taught it to me? What belief, what pattern, what loop is keeping me stuck and who taught that to me? And why am I still carrying that, right? And then the third question you can ask is, higher self, what do I need to remember right now? Like I'm feeling really depressed. I'm feeling like I'm not appreciated at work, let's say. I don't feel appreciated at work. What do I need to remember right now, right? And maybe the message from your higher self is, you're not even supposed to be in that workplace. That workplace is draining your energy. It's killed your soul, like not literally, right? It's sucking the life out of your soul. And it's just a negative, toxic environment, and you have outgrown it. And you shouldn't be there anymore, but you're in fear, or you're lazy, or you're unmotivated, whatever your higher self says. I don't know what your higher self is going to say, right? It wouldn't say lazy. It's probably just saying you haven't taken the time to go find a better job that's more aligned with your soul, that could bring you more joy, right? But you're not hearing that if you don't ask your higher self and if you don't quiet your mind to get the answer, right? So you can ask yourself this, guys, you can do this. If I were sitting in a chair across from my higher self, and I looked at my higher self and I said, higher self, I'm feeling so unappreciated at work. I'm fearful or nervous I might lose my job. I don't feel like my boss appreciates me. I feel like there's a lot of stress. I'm just not happy there. What do I need to remember right now? Pretend your higher self is sitting across from you. Now, jump into the role Okay. Your name is Becky. Okay. You're Becky. Leave Becky's body for a moment. Just pretend. This is pretend. Okay. Leave Becky's body for a moment, your consciousness, and jump into the body of your higher self sitting across from you. Pretend you are now your higher self talking to Becky. Okay. Look at Becky and answer the question to Becky. The question Becky just asked. What do I need to remember right now? And then how would your higher self answer you? Again, maybe your higher self answers like I just said. Maybe your higher self is like, you should have been out of there a long time ago. You know this. You're not dealing with it because you're afraid. You know, you don't want to get that resume updated, whatever it is, your higher self might say, right? You're comfortable. You're comfortably uncomfortable and you don't like new things. So you just need to do it. You just need to do it afraid. You know, otherwise you're going to just, what's that saying, right? If you keep doing the same thing, you're going to experience the same results, right? Nothing's going to change until you change it. And humans, a lot of times, not everyone, but a lot of humans don't like change. So we don't want to do the hard things. So just kind of jump into the perspective of your higher self. Pretend you're your higher self. Okay. The other thing you can do is raise your light on purpose. So do something that brings you joy. Do something where you feel love or where you feel hope. Dance, laugh, breathe, do breath work, anything like that. Kui, thank you. Oh my gosh, for the peppers, chili peppers. Thank you. Do something that feels good. Again, like Bashar said, find something that feels good. Bentinho Massaro, my favorite teacher, says, follow the breadcrumb trail of excitement. Find something that lights you up even a little bit, right? Maybe it is taking a break from the pressure of work. And maybe it is literally just vegging out for 3 hours in front of a Netflix series and watching 3 episodes. Maybe that's what it is. I do that sometimes. I do. What's the one I'm watching right now? The one I'm watching right now is Virgin River. Oh my gosh. You guys are probably, some of you watching this have probably seen it. I love it. I love a good love story, right? Virgin River. But I did finish the whole series of Suits. I loved that. I loved it. Oh, thank you. I love this. This is Moonstone. She's looking at my necklace. I got this made on Etsy. It's a pretty necklace. Had it made. Can't remember who made it. I could look it up. But yeah, I love it. Moonstone. Okay. So those are the things you can do to open that window to hear from your soul. Okay. Instead of staying lost in the human story, turn on that teaching, get in that Epsom salt bath, turn on a good guided meditation. I have some good guided meditations. Thank you, Joyty. I have some good guided meditations on my website. They're not mine. I got them off YouTube. I thought they were really good ones to practice with. If you guys want to go to my website, again, I have a lot on my website, you guys, wokelightworker.com. There's a tab called videos. And on the videos tab at the bottom are some meditations that I actually have people practice doing before they schedule a session with me, because I want them to just practice quieting their mind and just getting into that relaxed state. You don't have to be a master meditator or anything like that. It's not about that. But I got some good meditations out there. So get in that Epsom salt bath and turn on a good guided meditation and just forget. Just like when you turn on Netflix, you just forget the world around you, right? You forget it. And you forget your life, forget everything. It's your escape, right? Just like people use drugs and alcohol and other things, adventure, risky adventures, whatever, to escape reality. This is your escape from this life and a way to connect to your soul. That's opening the window. And it's a way for you to disconnect from the humanness, right? Because the humanness is where all these heavy feelings are. Your heavy feelings are not in your soul. They're not. The trauma, the abandonment, the scars from abuse, right? All those heavy, hard things, right? The trauma from me, quote unquote losing my 5-month-old daughter in this life when my husband killed her, like that's not on my soul. That's the experience that Tracy had in this life. And so if I'm connecting with my humanness, then I'm experiencing that. I'm feeling that, right? So it's escaping from that humanness and connecting with that part that doesn't have that grief, the part that doesn't have that trauma, the part that doesn't have that betrayal and abandonment and rejection. Connect with that part, right? In that meditation. Go out in nature, unplug, connect with that part, talk to God, turn on, I shouldn't say turn, I was going to say turn on a good teaching while you're walking, but no, listen to the birds, right? Whatever. Listen for snakes, just in case, right? Those rattlers are loud. So get in nature, right? It was so hard and still is trying to understand why and move past that when it comes to grief. Right. And our human mind, unless we're hearing from our higher self, probably won't have the answer to why that happened and what you're meant to learn. You're only going to get that information from grief, from losing someone, when you connect to your soul, right? When you connect to God. That's the only way you're going to hear those answers, right? You're not going to hear it by looping in your mind the same question. Why, right? Because you're not connecting to the one with the answers. You're connecting to the one with the question, right? And the feelings, right? Oh, thank you. You said, I love your content, right? Yeah. So connecting to your soul, that's where you're plugging in, right? You want to plug in. You got unplugged. You're the light, the lamp that got unplugged. You got to go plug that electrical cord back in, right? Because otherwise you're unplugged. You're not connected to your light. So let me see what else I got on my notes. Oh, and guys, I have a theta healing, I have a few spots left, not many, but I have a free theta healing intro class I'm offering on Thursday night, a week from today, April 3rd, but you have to be there for the whole thing. You have to be there for the full 3 hours. You can't pop in at any time. It's not like watching a live. You actually have to be there. If you're going to sign up, you have to be there from start to finish, and respect the space. So, and that's a boundary that I have with theta healing. Plus it's a theta healing rule. You have to be there the entire time. Your camera has to be on. You can't be driving. You can't be grocery shopping. Like you can't be doing any of that. You have to be in a place, focused attention. Theta healing is serious healing work. It's a serious tool, and it's the biggest sledgehammer I've got in my spiritual toolbox. Like it is massive. If you guys don't know what theta, Theta, theta healing is, oh my gosh, it's incredible. My soul, I told you, like years ago, rang the bell in my soul and told me, you need to take theta healing. And I had no idea what it was. All I did was hear the word theta healing. And I went and signed up for it, having no idea what it was. And oh my God, like I totally know why my soul had me do it. But I have a video. It's a 30-minute webinar replay on my website. Again, wokelightworker.com. You can check under my courses, and theta healing is there. And it's a webinar replay that I did telling you what theta healing is. And it is powerful. Like if you're serious and if you're not serious about your healing journey, just don't even waste your time. Like literally don't waste your time. You have to really want to be motivated to work on your healing. And if you're not serious and you're not motivated and you don't want to dedicate the time and the energy, that's totally fine. Like no judgment, seriously. Like I wasn't doing the healing work for most of my life, right? No judgment. But when you get there, you'll get there. It's not a big deal, right? But if you are, and you want to connect in a really deep way with the creator, with your higher self, mostly with creator is what we watch, is what we do. Check out theta healing, because like it will change your life. Like you'll use it the rest of your life forever and ever and ever. Like when I took, it's 4 classes of theta healing that I teach. When I took those 4 classes, the first time I ever took them, I was already on my healing journey. I did a lot of, meditation, bathtub meditations, really working on my healing. I walked out of those 4 classes and I said to myself, literally, I said to myself, oh my gosh, what I just experienced in those 4 classes with all the hands-on healing work we do with partners in the class and everything I learned, I know for a fact that would have taken me about 2 years to learn on my own, at least 2 years, and to heal the things that I healed in class, because this is not surface level Band-Aid healing. Like you learn in theta healing how to go to the root, and the root might be trauma from a past life. And the root might be trauma that's passed on to you generationally. It might be something you're holding on a soul level that you haven't let go of yet, that your soul's kind of hanging on to you, hanging on, telling you we need to heal this in an incarnation. Or it could be just something that you picked up in this lifetime, but you learn how to uncover, where did it start? Why am I holding on to it? What lessons am I learning from holding on to it? And what do I need to do to let it go? And what beliefs can I have downloaded from the creator? Just like a computer program, what beliefs can I have downloaded that would heal me from that in a profound way and put me on a different path to having beliefs that I actually want in my mind and in my energy to be creating my reality, not those other beliefs. The belief that, again, that example, that I'm separate, that I'm unsupported. Like, no, I'm choosing now, okay, I found the root of that. The root is, being abandoned in a past life. I was, left on the doorstep of a church, right? Let's say that you find out that that's what happened to you. And that's where the feelings of abandonment started. You're experiencing abandonment in this lifetime, but it's not where it started. So theta healing helps you uncover, where did it start? So you heal it from the root. You go back and visit that life and you heal it in that life after you uncover the lessons you learned from it and the beliefs you have surrounding it. You heal all of that. And then you pull that healing forward to this life. You heal that feeling of abandonment in this life. And then you download new beliefs, right? You download creator's definition of being connected, creator's definition of being supported, creator's definition of being unconditionally loved, not your definition, not your human definition, creator's definition. You download, I know what it feels like to always be connected to the creator. I know what it feels like to always be unconditionally supported by the creator. I know how to live a life supported fully by the creator. I know that it's possible to live a life where I'm totally supported by the creator of all that is. So it's downloading these new beliefs, pulling and sending those other ones to creator, like throwing them in the trash, and downloading those new ones that will serve you in a higher way. Because now you've got those in here and you can pull from those. Again, asking your higher self or creator, hey, help me design my life. Help me create my life from these new beliefs. Help remind me what those new beliefs are that I had downloaded. So if you guys are interested in coming to that free class, you just need to go to my website, wokelightworker.com, under the contact me page, and just tell me you want to be there for the free class. And all that information for the theta healing is on my website, wokelightworker.com. You can watch that webinar replay to learn more about how powerful it is. And actually you can become a practitioner. You'll be a certified practitioner when you're done. So you can start practicing how to do it and use it in a healing business. A lot of people just use it on themselves, but if you want to use it as part of your healing business, you can do that too. So you can go to my website again, send a contact for me and just tell me you want to be in the free class. And then the information it's just the first 3 hours of the first class is free. Okay. The full class for the first level is 18 hours. So it's 2 evenings plus the weekend. So you can get all that information on my website, wokelightworker.com, again, under my courses. Okay. So can't believe I caught your live. Kay Diane said, yay. Will you have past life regression or hypnosis in the theta class? That was the question. Oh my gosh. I share so many stories in my theta healing class, which is not like anyone else's theta healing because I don't know of any other theta healing teachers that do the hypnosis. So I don't think any of the other ones anywhere have any hypnosis stories, but I weave it all together a lot because I just go with whatever my team brings to my mind when I'm teaching. Like now, I mean, these words are just coming out, but I share lots of past life stories and higher self hypnosis stories and wisdom from people's higher selves in the class as it pops up in my mind. So you will hear a lot. I don't do a hypnosis in the class because it's not hypnosis. I have a hypnosis mentoring program. You guys can find out about that on my website, wokelightworker.com. Also, I have a 6-month mentoring program with lifetime support. It's really intense. Like we do a lot of work in that class, and it's for 2 hours every Sunday evening for 6 months with lots of homework in between. And let me just say, you have to be really serious about wanting to do this as a career and wanting to really seriously change your life through lots of intense healing, because healing work is there's 3 prongs to my mentoring program. There's looking at the business side of things, like a lot of business stuff we cover. Then there's your healing journey, and we do a ton of healing work and self-healing work as part of my training program. And then there's the hypnosis part, right? So it's really the 3 together, but they're 3 distinct, and every single week you get homework to work on for each of the 3 parts. And so you have to know theta healing, and you have to go through the 4 theta healing classes in order to be in my hypnosis training program, because theta healing is such a big part of the work inside hypnosis that I do, right? I use a lot of theta healing techniques inside my hypnosis. And so that's how I teach it. So if you're interested in my training, hypnosis training mentoring program, you can learn about that on my website too, wokelightworker.com. But let me see. What else was I going to say? You were never meant to do this journey alone, guys. Just remember, you have your spirit team out there. You have Creator, the creator of all that is. And again, just open that window. So I think I have a couple of things from a session. Ezra, thank you for the heart me. Okay, listen to this. So this was a session I just had recently. And the question I asked her higher self was, she knows you are there, her higher self, even though she denies it sometimes. And her higher self said, yes, she's very connected, very spiritual. Her human side, yeah, she gets a little bit of enjoyment out of holding on to human misery. Her cave woman, remember I told you the story at the very beginning, she was a cave woman who loved her life as a really primitive cave woman. Her cave woman knew, so of course she knows. So get that? Her higher self said she gets a little bit of human enjoyment out of holding on to human misery. And I said to her higher self, what is joyful about holding on to human misery? Like, how is that joyful? What kind of joy does she get? And her higher self said, and this was funny. Her higher self said, we are laughing at her right now because there is nothing joyful about holding on to misery. Her thinking brain gets so heavy. When she doesn't think of that, the misery stuff, she's all good. And then her higher self said, and there she is. She's laughing with us now. She's realized now, of course, that it's not good holding on to that crap, her higher self said. But yes, she's laughing. We're laughing. I don't know why, but it's funny now. We can laugh about it now. It's so funny. She wastes so much time feeling crappy. They're all laughing about it. Come on, get on with it. Yeah, I got stuck, she said. I didn't need to get stuck, but I got stuck. And that's when she was talking. And I said, like, stuck in the mud? And her higher self said, yes, yes, stuck in the mud. She was walking through a swamp and she didn't need to. She didn't need to. The experiences she has now are okay. She was meant to remember that good things come from the pain. You hear that? She was meant to remember that good things come from the pain. Every experience she has is a beautiful lesson. She just holds on to the human side. That human side was so heavy on her, so heavy, right? So, and this is what I hear all the time. We hold on to these emotions. They get trapped in us. They get trapped in our body and they're not meant to. But our human side traps them and thinks on them and how that hurt and how this hurt and how that hurt and how that person betrayed and this and this and this and this. And they get trapped in us and we don't let it go. But that's not the true intention of emotions. Emotions are supposed to come, we feel them, but we let them go and we let them flow through us. And we're not doing that, right? That's the human side. Like, no, he did me wrong. I'm not letting that go. I'm not going to forgive him. He should have known better. My dad should have known better. How could he do that? And we just hold on to it, right? I've been there, right? For years, holding on to the feeling of rejection from my dad, right? It's heavy. We don't let it go. It gets trapped, right? So let me see. I said, when she's ready to let go of unforgiveness, can you pull it from her? This is theta healing. Can you pull it from her, send it to Creator's light, and replace it with forgiveness towards herself and with Creator's unconditional love and light? And what does that look like as you do it? That's what I asked her higher self. Her higher self said, we're all having a joke with each other, saying she will have arguments with each other and we'll all have arguments with each other and she'll bring it back again because she likes to have arguments in this life. But she's now looking at the funny side of it. She can let it go. She can let this unforgiveness go. It feels light and it feels funny now. It's just funny that she just held on to it like a punishment for herself. But those were the genes she chose, meaning her higher self was telling me that's the family history line, the generational line she came from. But now we can pat her on the back. You needed to learn all that, and she came into the right family to learn forgiveness because they struggle with the same thing. She can help them too. So then let me see. She had a lot of dead, so this is what her higher self said. We're going around her head and we're helping to clear her head out. There's blockages in her mind. We're going to push through them. In her head, she has created a maze with all these dead ends. We're clearing it out. It went out the top of her head. We did it. We cleared out that maze. She had a lot of dead ends that she put there herself. And I said, why did she put those dead ends in her head? And her higher self said, human. She got too involved in the human feelings. She forgot we were there. When you get stuck being too human, it's because you don't remember your connection. She knew that she was too gray. I think I wrote something wrong. Let me skip that part. I don't even know what it means. It wasn't factual enough for her. Like in this life, she wanted to see facts. And she's learning she doesn't need to see it. She can just know. It's like she was questioning herself all the time. Like, if I can't see something, if it's not scientifically proven, then it's not there. But she knows it's there. She knows we're there. And she's feeling it again. And I said, how do you become more unattached to human feelings so that these things don't happen. And her higher self said, meditate. And she doesn't do that. You have to quiet in order to connect. You have to be quiet for you to be able to hear us. You don't have to quiet that human. I'm sorry, you have to quiet that human, and you do that through meditation. I said, why doesn't she meditate? And her higher self said, because she forgot that meditation is what heals you again and helps you reconnect to spirit. Thank you, Paula. She forgot. You have to slow down to be able to connect. If you don't slow down, you're not going to connect. I said, so a lot of humans are angry, very angry, that they're alive on Earth and they feel it's just way too difficult. And they say that they never, ever want to incarnate on Earth again. So why do they keep coming back if they feel this way? This is what her higher self said. Because when you go back, you are reminded of what it's like, and it doesn't look that hard. Meaning when you go back to spirit, you guys, when you go back to spirit, it doesn't look that hard. It's not until you come down here and you feel it. And then you get stuck in those feelings and it gets hard. So the feelings are like mud, right? And when you're down here, you just need to remember what it is. It's part of the journey. So really the secret is remembering, because we all forget. And the more you forget, the harder it is. Because when you remember, you just remember, oh, wait, that's just an experience that you chose. But the human brain does not remember that. And it's intense. Humans feel it intensely, especially when you don't remember. I said, question, is it like the soul is just disregarding the painful human experience? Isn't that what's going on? And her higher self said, no, not at all. It's like the density is too low for the soul to be able to reach you, and the soul starts to lose the connection with you. And you need to bring your energy and your vibrational level up, because it just can't reach the human because of the density, the low density in the energy and the density in the air. You can't hear us. And I said, so we can't hear our own soul? And the answer was no, because it's too dense. Their human feelings are too thick. The soul tries to reach them, but the earth can be very dark and people forget the light. And there has to be a balance of dark and light. You can't have all light and you can't have all dark. You have to have balance. People forget that balance. I said, question, and they get lost in the dark? And her higher self said, yes. And without that, yes. And without light in that dark, the density is too low. You can't hear spirit. You can't hear anything. All you can hear are those stupid demons. That's what her higher self said. Because I said, again, it's part of the game. You have angels, you have darkness, dark entities or demons. It's all part of the game on Earth. But who are you listening to? Who are you giving space to hear, right? The light or the dark, right? So her higher self said, without light in the dark, the density is too low. You can't hear spirit. You can't hear anything. All you can hear are those stupid demons. Okay. So then my question was, so is the key getting your vibration up? And the answer was yes. And the key is finding happiness or joy or love. Again, those are high vibration things, right? So yes, the soul needs that window of opportunity so they can be reminded. And don't worry, every opportunity the soul gets, it tries. It tries all the time. And I say, my question was, how do you say that all this hurt is human and not real? How do you say that? And the answer was, we get so tied up in the life that we're living that we think that this is the only experience that we are, but we're not. This is just one experience in our soul journey, in our growing. It's all about growing. We come down and we choose it. It's like a matrix. We plug in and then we unplug. Yes, but we choose this thing. It's real, but it's not everything real. It's just a part of it. It's just a fraction of our universe. This experience is just a fraction of who we are. Earth, it's just an experience. It's real in the human experience, but it's just a journey in the soul world. It's not as real as it feels. For example, if you're hurting physically and you're in pain, that's the human side. If you're feeling that, because we can't feel pain. So it's real, but it's not real. It's a feeling. We need to feel things to experience them. My question, do we come here so we can feel things? Answer, oh yes. Oh yes. Feeling, intense feelings, good lessons, hard and fast lessons. Question, why does the soul like hard and fast lessons? Answer, to grow faster, to grow. Question, what is the soul growing towards? Answer, more knowing. The more we learn, the more we know, and then we have that knowing of belonging and that we are all one. That knowing, right? No, this is not Edgar Casey. This is a higher self hypnosis session that I did. And this is me asking and talking to my client's higher self, plurality. Ask that question. Okay, so I said, and the soul cannot know this without experiences? And her higher self said, yes, because then you feel like just a fragment of it rather than a part of it. So then I said, I did this exercise and the question's too long, but I basically asked her higher self if it could gather up all the trauma that she's experienced in this lifetime and pull the pain from it and just file those memories in the back of her brain without the pain. Okay. So her higher self said, yes, we're in the brain. We're helping her sort of like rewire, because she knows that those were experiences that she chose. They're not bad things. We're helping her remember that, and that it's all okay, because even those other people who hurt her, they're beautiful people. We chose those people and we love those people. So we're just rewiring her to feel love again and remind her, because she loves all of those people and they love her. We have helped her redo her brain because she was so humanly stuck. Question. Is she too attached to this journey from a human standpoint? Answer, she was way too attached, but she's not anymore. So I then said, she can know things logically that are truth, but when it comes to letting things go and not being attached to them emotionally, that's where she struggles. She can become very emotional. She wants to know, what is it in her that needs to be shifted or changed or healed in order for her to not be so emotional and be able to regulate her emotions better. She wants to learn how to manage her emotions and not feel them so deeply so it doesn't hurt so much. Answer. I hear this all the time, guys. I'm going to tell you what her higher self said. I hear it so many times. Here it is. Stop taking life so seriously. And remember her connection, because she just remembers the human pain too much. She forgets about the lesson she was meant to learn from that feeling, and she forgets to let it go and move on. She holds on to it. She needs to connect to us and learn the lessons and then let go of them and take them as a lesson, not as a punishment or suffering, because they're not sufferings. She can feel that suffering, But then she connects with us and we can help her let it go and move on from that suffering very quickly. And then she will just have the experience from the lesson left over. Wasn't that amazing, you guys? Like, who loved that? Did you love that? That was amazing. Like, I loved her session. And her session, right? Love Jules, isn't that amazing? Her session is the one that I said, oh my gosh, I have to go do a live because like this session is amazing. So yeah, beautiful, amazing, love it, right? That was incredible. Whoever just popped on now, you just missed it. It was incredible. But I think it's still playing on my YouTube live. Let me see. Yeah, it's still playing on my YouTube live, guys. There's no camera, so I'll have to find some image or something to put on the screen. But you can listen to this on my YouTube channel from start to finish on my YouTube channel called Woke Lightworker under the live tab. You just go to the live tab, okay? And you can listen to it all. It's like 2 hours and 40 minutes long already. But that was incredible. So many answers got answered, right? Esra, I think that's what it says. So many things got answered. That was incredible. So again, you might feel like you're stuck in the same patterns, that Earth is a trap, but come on, after you listen, you can have whatever belief you want. I'm not here to change your mind. You are free. Everyone is free to have whatever beliefs they want. But just remember, the beliefs that you hold are creating your reality. So what beliefs are you holding in your mind that your conscious mind, that you are using to create your reality? It's not the world doing it to you. It's you, me, doing it to ourselves. Our beliefs are doing it to ourselves. No one is forcing us. No one's holding a gun to your head and saying, you must believe that people who have money are evil, right? No, if you have that belief, you have that belief. You picked it up somewhere, but you have it. So unless you get rid of it and replace it with a different belief, that's what's creating your reality. And if you believe that people who have money are evil, you're not going to want to have money because you don't want to be evil, right? Yeah. If you have the belief that only the rich get richer, that's what you're creating. And if you're not rich, you're not going to get richer. How can you get richer if you're not already rich? So I guess I have to stay struggling and poor. Right? So what are the beliefs that you have that are creating your reality? So I have a free class on my website, guys, that can help you with this. It's called Create a Life You Want to Live in 15 Minutes a Day. And it's this little meditation that I do every morning with my spirit team that I have for a number of years now. And I just made it into a course called Create the Life You Want to Live. And it's free. It's on my website. If you go to wokelightworker.com, it's on there. You can get it for free. I have another free 2-hour masterclass out there called Overcoming Fear. Another 2-hour masterclass telling you how to heal regret, rejection, and resentment. That's a really good, I love that one. I did it. It was 2 hours. And oh, good. I'm glad. Good luck in your QHHT session. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, to answer Lavender's question, but all of my sessions are done on Zoom. I do a few random in-person ones, but 99.9% of them are on Zoom. Okay. So you can live anywhere. So to book a session, you go to my website, wokelightworker.com, or click the link in my bio here. And there's a link. You click that link and it'll bring you to a whole page. And one of the things on that page is book a session or book a consultation call. So you book a free 15-minute discovery call with me to see if it's a good fit. I have to ask you some questions first. I need to make sure that it's a good fit and that you are clear on what type of session you want before we book a session. So one's higher self, what did they think of not having children? It's whatever is part of your journey, right? It's whatever is part of your, you'd have to ask your higher self. I had a client, oh my gosh, I had a client the other day. Actually, it was this same client, I think. she asked if she's meant to have a baby with her partner. And she's, I don't know, in her 40s. And so she thought, well, that just seems silly, but I feel like my soul is telling me I'm supposed to have a baby with my partner. And so she said, I think it's ridiculous, but let's just ask. And so we did. And the answer was, yes, you actually are supposed to have a baby with your partner. So she was like, whoa, that blew my mind. I wasn't expecting that because like I'm going to be, a little bit older mother. She wasn't expecting that. But I asked specifically, is there, thank you, Esra. That's cute. I asked her higher self specifically, does she have a soul contract with another soul to be its mother yet? That was the question. And the answer was yes. Thank you, Esra. Good night. The answer was yes. She does have a soul contract with another soul to be its mother yet. So I said, oh, I guess you might not want to rule that one out. I can't imagine being in my 40s walking around with a car seat, but right. But she has a contract. So that was interesting. That was fun. But you'd have to ask your higher self if that's something that if you have a contract with another soul. I had a lady that a night before hers, her higher self said it's undetermined yet. And I was like, what do you mean it's undetermined? Her higher self was like, it's actually her choice. She can go either way. There's no soul that she has a contract with now, but she can easily establish one if she wants to, but she doesn't have to. She can easily go either way. It's undetermined at this moment. So I thought that was interesting, right? So we're constantly still working on soul contracts and things like that when we're here on Earth, because we're not like always here on Earth. This is just a fractal of our soul. We're still in the spirit realm, making contracts, working backroom deals, right? And it's just the avatar down here, avatar thing-ish, that's down here having these experiences and living out the things our soul has planned for us. So anyway, if you missed any of this, guys, or if you want to get in on my free the first 3 hours for free of my upcoming massive healing modality theta healing class a week from tonight, April 3rd, you have to be there for the whole 3 hours. Can't be driving, can't be at your kid's soccer game. You have to be dedicated to being in a quiet space with your camera on to do this, because this is serious work that we do in these classes. It's nothing I take lightly. It's for people who are going to be serious about it. You can go to my website, wokelightworker.com, and go to the contact me page and just shoot me a message saying you want to be in my free class, and I'll get you the information so you can get the Zoom link and all that to attend. And I'll tell you the book that you need to get, and you can get the ebook. It's like, I don't even know, it's like $2 or something. The Theta Healing ebook. So it's called Theta Healing. And again, on my website, wokelightworker.com, I have a 30-minute webinar replay that tells you all about theta healing and how massively powerful it is if you're serious about your healing journey. If you're not, don't worry about it. You can maybe take it later or, whatever. But this is if you really are serious about pulling trapped emotions and finding out why you have these looping patterns and changing your beliefs. We do a lot of belief shifting in that class, and it occurs over 4 weekends. So you got to look carefully at my website and see if you're ready to dedicate that kind of time, that commitment to yourself to learn a tool that you'll use the rest of your life that will radically transform your life for healing. I'm telling you, like, I've tried a lot of things, and this is the sledgehammer tool in my toolbox. So thank you, Love Jules. You're a Reiki healer. Nice, Rosh. Nice. I'm a Reiki healing master teacher, but I don't do any Reiki anymore. Not really. I just kind of, it was good to learn in the beginning. I liked it. It was actually the first class that really introduced me to spirituality. So I appreciate that, and I love that. But I mean, I'll do like little Reiki on myself or my animals or something like that. But Reiki's cool. It's cool. A lot of people really love it. But anyway, so I'm going to end it here. If you guys want to look on my website again, I got lots of free classes out there. I've got a meditation called Connecting to Your Higher Self for free. If you go to my website, it pops up right away on the screen and says, hey, do you want my free meditation called Connecting to Your Higher Self? Go to my website, download it. I'll send you a download. And get that. You can look at my free classes, like how to create a life you want to live in just 15 minutes a day. And then the information on my upcoming theta healing classes is out there. Again, serious, only if you're serious about really diving into your healing work and really doing the work. That's the only way that you wouldn't be interested if you weren't at that place. So look into that if you are. And then don't forget, I have my mentoring training program too, where I train other people how to do this the way I do it. The really three-pronged approach, looking at the business side, the hypnosis side, and massive, massive healing work that we do on ourselves so that we don't bring our junk and our beliefs and our unhealed traumas into a healing session, into a hypnosis session with our clients, right? We can be in a more of an empty container and a safe space for them where we've released a lot of judgments because we're not holding certain things. I'm not saying we're done and we're clear and all that, but we've cleared a lot, okay? More than the normal average person, I guess you would say. Not that makes you any better than anyone else. It's just part of the way I teach so that we can be more of a open, empty container and a safe space. That's really what we want to create, a safe space for our clients to be able to tell us about their traumas and their lives. Because when you hear about people's lives and what they tell you that they've done or what they're doing, we don't want to be in a state of judgment listening to them, right? We want to be a safe space and an open space of love and acceptance and understanding that everyone's journey is theirs to live and it doesn't need our judgment. And if we're holding on to certain beliefs and ideals about how the world should work and people should do this or people shouldn't do that, we're going to be judging that client that we're listening to who's doing things like having an affair or, something else. But that's not for us to judge. That's their journey. We're just here to be a safe listening space so we can help them connect to their higher self. So anyway, that's part of my mentoring program. And you can get information about my mentoring teaching program. It's 6 months long. It's going to start in June again. It's 6 months long and lifetime support I send my students constant stuff for them to keep their skills updated and upgraded and sessions so they can learn and different teachings and book recommendations. And we meet and have calls and they have an open line to me at any time to talk about their business or their healing or their journey. So it's pretty comprehensive what I offer. So that information on my mentoring program is also on wokelightworker.com. So thank you all for being here. If you want to watch the replay, listen to the replay of this, go to my YouTube channel, Woke Lightworker. The link is in my bio. You can go there and it'll be done uploading here probably in about 15, 20 minutes or so. And you can go back and listen to this whole thing from start to finish. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for joining me. It was a pleasure and I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.